Welcome everyone, boys and girls, goblins and ghouls.
You immediately test the new mics to see if you can make them peak.
I hope it's not peaking.
Well, whoever our Patreon sound guy to be, aka Travis.
I'm going to raise your mic up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to have some work.
We're trying to use mics.
We're trying to use mics because we've tried lapels. We've tried to shortcut your way to good audio, and you can't shortcut.
You can't take shortcuts in life.
I mean, Kanye's taken 3 listening parties to figure out his audio.
Yeah. I mean, you could think of this as the equivalent of Donda presentation number 1.
I think we are kind of the Donda of gaming podcast. We're really good. We still haven't figured out the audio.
You mentioned Donda.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever coming out.
It's going to come out. In our group chat, I have just become the biggest fool because I keep posting. I'll see a tweet from somebody that's working in the inner circle. Hey, 100% absolutely, it's coming out tonight. And I've posted 4 of those now where I'm like, guys, it's coming out. Like, it's definitely coming out. So I'm the biggest idiot.
I think Kanye's realized that his niche, his popularity is being the most mysterious and weird
and it's fun
possible.
It's fun. It's almost performance art. I mean, it is performance art.
Like, there's NFTs. I wonder what the Kanye NFT market is right now. I wonder if he even has any NFTs.
Well, Donda is an NFT that nobody can buy because it's not out.
I do appreciate that about Kanye, that like his off the music, off the stage stuff it's still performance.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Everything. Him going and talking.
It's not done.
It's a brand.
We're just getting to see the process because, like, for you doing audio and stuff, you're like, this is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
They're doing concerts for a pre-release album.
My favorite Kanye
awesome.
meme right now is the one when he was living in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah.
And then they were having a preseason game, and someone was filming, and they're like, who's that dude? And they zoomed in. There's a guy in a red jacket. They don't know if it was Kanye or not.
I think it was definitely him.
But on top of the roof of Mercedes-Benz, like, I don't even know how you get up there legally. Like,
oh, I didn't see that. I saw him at the actual soccer. They had a soccer game the week after, a couple of days after that first listening party, and he's just chilling with the crowd. It's like, go home.
No,
like,
there was.
I just think that's so funny that he was there.
Have you seen this? You have to look it up. It's so weird because the Saints play there. And it was on the opening of the stadium, standing down, like someone was looking down into the stadium through the pit, and it was like, people aren't supposed to be on top of those roofs in the stadiums. Like, that's big hazard, big problem. And
it's a big no.
And there was a guy in the red jacket that looked like Kanye's red jacket, and it's like he officially is now the face of this stadium. Like, he owns this stadium.
Well, and I saw a news report that he's at Chicago. He's at Soldier Field where the Bears play right now, and he built his childhood home on the field. And I saw that the field is torn up now because all the trucks.
They use grass. They use grass there.
All the trucks they've been driving and all the work they've been doing. So,
but it was the album's cool. All that to be said, it's cool. But thank you for joining us. We are the DweeBros podcast. We're not the Kanye podcast. The DweeBros podcast. I'm joined by very special, not guest, but what would you say, features?
DweeBros.
The DweeBros. What do you call, like, I guess, members of the band? Not like, there's
active participants.
The people.
The people you came to see.
The DweeBros, yeah. It's just the DweeBros.
It's been a day. I can tell you that.
Travis.
Howdy. How's it going?
Jacob.
Hey, guys. Good to have you.
And Zach.
There we go.
I almost said Kanye.
Kanye/Zach.
Yeah. I could be Kanye.
You might not know.
He's wearing a mask. What does he look like? I don't know.
Based on how this has gone, you might not know. This is a video game podcast. We've been doing this for 4 years? 5 years?
Well, 2017, I think.
Really?
It's weird looking back at those old ones, and it's
hey, we've evolved. Like, our character arcs as individuals.
Yeah.
Because, like, I always go back and watch them just because I'm, like, nostalgic.
Yeah.
And it's always funny going back from, like, big to, like, slowly getting smaller, and then the hair changing. The hair changing is my favorite. For me, there's 3 things: the big version to small version, the hair version of me, where I went from having black hair to blonde hair, and then the
you had
and then the occasional me deciding to grow the giant neck beard out.
The neck beard is cool.
Neck beard era.
Neck beard arc.
Yeah, those are always the good ones. Like, those are the ones. The hair one for me is you. Like, when I watch you and I see hair, I'm like,
I used to have hair, and then I don't because I joined this podcast.
The audio, he's like freaking Kanye's producer, dude.
I'll say that as like a
this is actually a perfect time to bring that up because I fully shaved my head for the first time. Like I've been buzzing it for a while, but like fully shaving your head's different because then like you just feel your skin. It's grown back a little bit, but I just fully shaved it for the first time, and it feels wild when you first do it. But
it's a cool feeling. The maintenance on it though, I feel like sucks.
Dude, I don't have as far as shaving.
No, keeping the scalp like.
Yeah, I don't plan on doing that. I just buzz it. I actually just buzz it as much as I could buzz it down, and I actually like it this way. I don't miss having hair in a lot of ways. It's a lot of work. I wake up, I roll out of bed.
Yeah, that would be easy.
Yeah,
I put on a shirt, and I'm not worried about anything.
I need to get a haircut because I'm experiencing that.
Because I get bad cowlicks, and it's like, oh, I have to like dunk my head and wash it. There's no way around it. But
I can see the enviness. So my hairline's slowly been receding.
That's been happening to me since.
And it's like I'm wondering, like, literally the other week I was like, should I just go bald? And my friends looking at me like, are you stupid? And I was like, no, I can tell. He's like, no. Like,
you guys have great hair.
Yeah,
I would.
That's how my mind works.
Trust me, you have great hair. You don't need to worry about hair.
To the worst case scenario. But we are a gaming podcast. We're not just like
we're not a hair loss podcast.
We're a hair podcast.
I would say pop culture, all these different types of things. We're just some friends who like to get together and talk and hang out.
Let's talk video games.
Let's talk video games.
What's new in the world of video games for you, Zach?
What is new? Kenny, did you join in on that one? I don't think you did. I forgot. This was the beginning of the month. Skyward Sword. Return to Skyward Sword. You jumped in, I think, on the chat.
I watched a little bit of your stream.
You came in at a great time and said, looks like a fun game. But we returned to Skyward Sword 10 years later, decade after it came out, 2011. Notoriously, I was hyping it up on the Hangouts we streamed. You can check it out on the channel. Me and Kenny streamed that game. They remade it, and notorious. Kenny loves it, but he really enjoys that game. I famously hate that game. I despise that game. I yelled when I first played that game because I was so mad I didn't want to continue playing it. And I returned to the world. What do I think now? You can check out more in depth. But basically, I was reminded why I don't like that game. And also in a post Breath of the Wild world, my patience is even lower for that. And that's what some of the reviews were kind of like just saying it like, well, it's some of that stuff like the stamina started in Skyward Sword, like some of those things they were playing with, those mechanics that was in the original. But going from these heavy like tutorial, like even that first, you can see it when we were playing, it's like, when is this going to start? Like, oh, take this package to Johnny and go do this. And Breath of the Wild's like, here's the world. Like they just immediately throw you out and you can go any direction after you get that plateau or whatever. But even then you can choose the direction you go from there. But all to be said, that is just like my least favorite Zelda game. I think Zelda 2 might be under it, but I don't know. Don't like that game.
There were like about 5 minutes where I thought I might buy this one because I was like, hey, the last Zelda I played was very non-conventional, Breath of the Wild. Maybe I'd like to pick this up. And I watched your stream and then I watched some more and I just didn't feel like pulling the trigger. Yeah, we talked a lot on the last podcast, I think.
We mentioned it because I'm playing it right now and I think the game, I do think the game's okay. Like at least this is the version to play. Do not play the Wii version.
Yes, I think this is definitely the fixed version.
If you want to play the game and experience the story, play this version. It doesn't mean it makes a game great.
It's the best version of this bad game.
Yeah, it's no longer a terrible game. It's just an okay game now. Which is sad to say about
it's a bad game with a new coat of paint. I will say the graphics the graphics looked bad in 2011. That's how bad they were.
Like it was running on
because it was made for, it wasn't HD
hardware.
And people were playing it on an HD television, which I did and many people did. And we hooked up the HD television with those graphics. It was like, this looks like mud. It's literally, I'm just playing colorful mud. But with the new...
I upscaled Wii, but go on.
Oh, you upscaled the Wii? Okay. But with the new remake, that you can actually see their vision. Okay, you can actually see how that watercolor like kind of pops. And it's like, okay.
I love the art style.
I think with the newer thing, it kind of...
The colors and the way that each like area looks when you drop down into the underworld, I thought they did great. Like I thought the artistic style was awesome on the game. It definitely didn't come through on the Wii.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the Switch, it comes through.
Yeah.
Like the Wii, it was poo-poo. But
I feel like Zelda always does a good job though with that. I feel like that's like their bread and butter.
yeah, they finally kind of fixed that. They fixed all the tutorial stuff. That fee would pop up every 2 seconds. Computing success rate 40%. It was this little thing, and you have to go through all the dialogue. It also playing it on stream. I realized too, with Breath of the Wild, like adding the story elements, that really picked it up too, because there is certain things, and I will compare this to Final Fantasy VII. When that was coming out, I was like, oh, is it going to be turn-based? Is it going to be turn-based? Well, some of those mechanics in old games, I think people can get like kind of hell-bent on, like, that's Zelda, or that's what Final Fantasy really is, or that's what Demon Souls, you know what I mean? Like, that's what this is supposed to be. But you have to realize sometimes it's the shortcomings of the hardware. And the reason they did that, or the shortcut, like when Zelda first came out, there wasn't spoken dialogue, so they had to put that text, but then they carried it over to Ocarina of Time, and it kind of just stuck, but it was like, maybe those aren't good staples. Like, so when Breath of the Wild, it's like, let's twist it. They still kept the heart, I think, of Zelda, like some of those elements and things you see, but it's like, we don't need that. So Skyward Sword still has non-spoken dialogue. It's all in there, and I was like, I am done with this. Like,
I think you bring a good point when you're saying the heart of a certain franchise is something to do with the technical execution.
Yeah,
you're probably not right. It's, the things that really stick and last, like Final Fantasy is a good comparison. Now that series has changed a lot, and I actually don't like Final Fantasy 15. I haven't played 13, but like, I think the heart of Final Fantasy, even the things I did like about 15, is having a party going on an adventure. Like, I feel like if that is the case, you can make a Final Fantasy game, and there's a certain kind of design aesthetic around the menus and stuff. But like, yeah, I'm with you. I don't like it when people say, oh, it's not, Breath of the Wild's a bad Zelda game because the dungeons are of a different scope, or like people would say they're not as good. And it's like, well,
it's just a preference.
Well,
that's the problem.
Yeah. But so you could say, I don't like Zelda Breath of the Wild as much because I prefer the dungeons in another game, but to say it's a bad Zelda game because of that, it's like, well, take all the puzzles across all the shrines. You've got, I think, better puzzles pound for pound than any other Zelda game in existence.
And that's an opinion as well, but I'm not going to sit here and say like, you can't sit here and say that game's bad just because it's your opinion. That's not fair.
No, you can say you don't like it. You can even say you think it's bad. I'm saying it's a bad Zelda game, I think is like,
that's like just a stupid
it's like, what does that even mean? Like,
I don't like Breath of the Wild a ton, but I think it's one of the better Zelda games, and people agree that it's critically might be the best.
You see it a lot with Metal Gear Solid 5. People say, great game, terrible Metal Gear game. And it's like, I don't see it that way. I see this as Kojima unlocked gameplay-wise, finally able to pull off what he always wanted to. Yeah. The janky controls in, what's the third one? Naked Snake? What's it called?
Snake Eater.
Snake Eater, right? Yeah. I love Snake Eater. Like, those are weird controls.
Yeah,
and
the controls are weird on that original.
If Kojima in 2004, when he was making Snake Eater, had the ability to make it gameplay wise the way it is in Phantom Pain, he would have freaking done it.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think some people get really caught up on some of these more classic things. I think some things are like, they fixed that and you don't care. But like Zelda, it gets scary. I think Breath of the Wild is a scary departure for the series because it's so off the rails, beaten different. Like, you can climb everything. It's like, I couldn't even freaking hit a jump button before. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm soaring and going over here. Like, they really changed a lot of formula, and that's a scary move. But at some point, like, you got to breathe fresh air into certain things or it's going to become stale. Like,
I think the next one, to piggyback on this Breath of the Wild discussion, and there's been a lot of releases recently about this, I think Elden Ring is going to be very, very, very successful. I think it's going to be divisive for people that play Souls games because I was watching videos. They just released gameplay to the press, and they didn't show it to everybody, but all these big write-ups came out. In this game, it brings the stealth from Sekiro. You can jump, so there's jumping platforming puzzles, and like you can approach all these dungeons. People compare it to Metal Gear Solid 5. You can approach them from any angle. So when you get to a new castle,
that's cool.
You could be like, I'm going to go in the back where it's more platforming Sekiro style, or I can go in the front where it's more Dark Souls dodging trap style, or I can climb. Yeah. So they brought Sekiro stuff, they brought Dark Souls stuff, but the biggest thing is you ride a horse around. And you unlock these things called grace points, and they were compared to the shrines in Breath of the Wild to the extent that if you see one in a weird place, you can mark it on your map, and it puts a giant thing in the sky. And so everybody's saying, like, this is Breath of the Wild Souls.
Elden Wild.
And there's a new mechanic where you can basically use your MP. Everybody has MP, even if you're not a mage, and you can summon these NPCs. And they said in the demo they saw that the person summoned 6 different NPCs to help them, and it was them against a dragon in a big field, and there were 6 NPCs like helping them fight.
Wow.
So they were saying it looks like it's going to be one of the easier ones where you can just bring people in.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be divisive of like, I like Dark Souls 1 when the whole world was interconnected and it was these dense dungeons, and it's like, I think that Elden Ring is going to be really wide open, but I think that that's a game series that needs a refreshing.
Sometimes I'm going to compare this to music albums, because there is usually on like classic bands or bands people really get big fans of, whatever. I think you get 3 good albums with a certain sound, and then you got to move on. Like you can kind of see that in you can see that kind of in bands that continue on, bands that don't like flake out and whatever, have to like really kind of change their sound. Yep. I think you can only use certain mechanics for like, I mean, that's why you see like trilogies of movies and then they move on and then there's like a whole new thing. Like you can't do like 4, 5, 6 of the same thing. It's going to get old to people. So you have Dark Souls. You can always go back and play Dark Souls. You can always go play, the classic Zelda games. You got those originals, but it's like if they keep doing the same thing, that's gonna tarnish, I think, the reputation. I think a lot of you have to be careful of that. You don't want to go too crazy and go out the bounds of like, why'd they change that? Like, you know what I mean? Like there is a balance of.
I think the natural segue from that conversation though is what I've been playing. I've been playing Demon Souls. The remake, and it set in a lot of what we're talking about, which is I'm done with this formula.
Yeah.
Like I think I was already there, and I was there actually when we played Demon Souls last year when the remake came out, which I love the game, but I was kind of done with it once I got to the end.
Yeah.
And so I booted my file back up recently, and I was close on some of the trophies, so I went for the platinum, which was brutal. It was brutal, but I got it.
Got it though.
I had to beat the game like 3 times. I had to like do all these special side bosses and side NPCs, and really good game. But like, and it's probably appropriate because that's the first one in the kind of Souls kind of series, so to speak. So Souls branch of games, but I'm done with that main formula. Like I may play Sekiro again sometime because I really liked that game.
Yeah.
But by and large, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, had a great time with them. Demon Souls had a great time. Bloodborne, liked it a lot. Sekiro, liked it a lot. But I'm ready for Elden Ring, and I'm done, I think, with... If they were like, we're doing Dark Souls 4, and you can't jump, and you can't sneak, and it's these, areas, and it's these, and you get the 4 Lord bosses.
I'll wait till it's on sale.
I would play it, but it's like...
I'd be mad about it.
Are there any series like that for you guys? Like, even if you're not excited, you're going to show up?
Mass Effect Andromeda?
No, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe if there was a mainline, would you ever skip a mainline Final Fantasy that's not an MMO?
No.
Even if you were like, I don't know.
I've showed up for everyone. Like, I'm playing 16, even though 16 at the moment
there
looks
for every
kinda
Call
weird
of
to
Duty.
me. I'll be there.
That's how I am with those games. But like I'm thrilled about what they're doing with Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So
I was actually, when Elden Ring, I was like, that kind of looks neat, but I'm so burnt off these games. I kind of wasn't excited till you told me about this stuff. So now I'm like, oh, I'm kind of back on the train. Like, check that out. So
can't beat the gargoyles, so I'm still not interested.
what have you been playing other than the gargoyles?
Oh man, dude, that's a loaded question. I will say this: we talked about Breath of the Wild. I wanted to devolve. Is devolve the correct word? I wanted to unwrap a question that is divisive.
Okay.
I'm playing Breath of the Wild the way God intended it. It's 60 frames per second in upscale resolution.
Okay, on the Switch Pro that came.
Oh no, on my computer.
Oh, okay.
I've been emulating. I got the CEMU emulation, and through a loving community, I was able to get the things necessary to play the game.
Yeah, approved by Nintendo.
Well, this is why I wanted to have a conversation with, because I'm playing the game and I'm enjoying Breath of the Wild in a way that like I didn't really enjoy a ton on the Switch. I'm actually having a lot more fun. I found a save file that was completely broke, so I could pick like where I wanted to start. So I literally looked at my Switch file. I was like, I'm here, and I just put those in, and I'm now there in the computer version, which is awesome because I'm like, I'm playing the game now. I'm playing the DLC right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm having fun because I'm like, I'm able to pick up where I left off. The issue I'm having is not really having, but because I don't feel bad about it, but I want to see how you guys felt. If you bought a game in the past, but you currently do not own the game, so you can't rip those files.
Yeah.
Do you have right to emulate it?
If you bought it before,
Yes.
here's the. with newer games, it's kind of shaky. I'm not going to have a stance on that. But like, Nintendo has done such an ungodly bad job at N64, GameCube, and like GameCube and older, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just throw Wii in there, whatever. But because how do you even get those games now? You have to buy them used off eBay or used off Amazon or like the thrift store or something.
Yeah.
That's the only way. So who's getting the money? Well, the person who you're buying it off of, and not Nintendo. And Nintendo won't give you a good way to get it. They've had the Switch Online for what? How many years? Like since 4 years, and they haven't
only
done
get SNES games.
They just keep adding these like no name Super Nintendo games that no one's ever heard of. By this point, they've got the major.
You know what's mind blowing?
It's
Someone brought this up. It's like this system is a good system and they just talked about because like the Wii U was that chance. The Wii U could have been like a DS emulation because you had the touch.
Yeah, that was perfect, and they never did it.
They're like, why can't the Switch do that? Why can't we where can we figure this out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing though. Like, so like, what do you think it's okay, or would you be like, no, you have to own the game 100%, like right then and there, and rip those own files?
My philosophy on it is, if something's accessible digitally, probably the best thing to buy it or stream it legally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If something is not available in your region, or it's not available because of some dumb trademark thing, or the people that own it, like Nintendo, are horrible in the way they distribute it, and you can only buy it on a Wii Virtual Console and play it in 480p. I say frick 'em. I say frick 'em with no. Look, we ran into this with Metroid recently. I would pay Nintendo right now $20. I'd pay, honestly, if it was more, to play Metroid Zero Mission on the Switch.
Yeah.
Look, it's a GBA game. The Switch can totally handle it. They own the
100%.
game. Put it on a Game Boy. Put it on either a Game Boy channel or just make it a digital download. They don't give me that option.
They did it with the 3DS. Why can't they do it?
I've paid them $300 for the right to buy games from them, and they haven't put it out.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm going to frickin' do? I'm going to find a way to not pay Jim Bob $200 for the cartridge in box on eBay. I'm going to find a way to play it because it's a freaking 3-hour game, and it's part of the. This goes back to my other thought, which is once something is just part of the public consciousness, it's part of culture. I don't think that the people that own it like get to say 30 years later, you don't get to get that because we're not going to distribute it. Like, no, it's part of culture, bitch. Like, I'm going to find a way to play it. Like, I'm sorry if it's part of culture and it's part of the collective understanding of what games are and how we got here. I think there's an expiration date on which you can be a jerk to me about me buying your game.
Yeah, and I can understand.
So like current gen, even last gen. And so your example of you owned Breath of the Wild, I guess, on Switch or whatever, but now you're playing it on PC. I think you got to do what you got to do to play the game that you bought in the format you want to play it. And if you want to play it on better hardware because the Switch sucks, I say go for it.
I did this recently too. Before Jacob did, I loaded all that stuff up. And same thing, 4K, 60, whatever. And it's like, oh, I don't want to return to the Switch version. Like it's so.
That's the problem. Like
it's Pandora's box. Once you do that, you're like, it's so smooth.
My computer's running this so well, and I'm like, why would I ever put that back on there?
I played it the other day. It's rough.
That's what I mean though, and I'm not
it's actually actively keeping me from playing certain games on the Switch. The Hyrule's Warrior thing, I played that on Wii U and had a great time. I don't want to get it for Switch. I'm actually
emulate it.
I could do that. So
I'm just. At this point, that's the thing.
Maybe I'll buy it and then I'll just emulate it.
I was messing around with it. It's really good. Wii U emulation's way too good the way it is. But anyways, I've been playing that for a little bit. I'm enjoying it. It's just a nice sandbox game. I'm literally just approaching it as a sandbox game. I have a couple quick hitters. Call of Duty has been an absolute word I can't say show. So I have not touched Call of Duty, which sucks because that's one of the games like I can brag that I'm extremely good at. And I cannot play that game right now because it's such a hacker-infested game.
You're a good enough player at shooter games. I feel like you could pick up another shooter and be really good at that instead.
That's what I'm talking about. So I jumped over to Splitgate, and I've been playing Splitgate, which is a open beta game that some people who are really passionate about Halo and they're really passionate about Portal combine the two concepts. And it is just absolutely ludicrously fun.
I think I just heard about that. Yeah, it was like a Halo.
Yeah,
game.
it's not a full game out. It's completely free. But what it is just basically they install like your basic battle rifle, your assault rifle. You have a baseball bat, which is like the Graviton hammer, but it's a baseball bat, which is really kind of funny. Rocket launcher, pistol, SMG, and then they incorporate on the other hand is your portal hand. So you can open portals anywhere in the map, pretty much, and run through them, shoot through them, play, and it's it's just your team deathmatch, capture the flag, oddball, all these Halo concepts within the world of Portal and Halo. Really, honestly, I was just like, man, this is awesome. I don't know how you don't get shut down at some point because of it, because it was so similar to these other concepts, but I hope because it's free, it's okay. I don't again, that's where you like, what's that copyright rule? Like, who owns it? What's trademark? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I've been playing that a lot, having a lot of fun. If you guys haven't checked that out and you like those games, you should check the mixture of the two out.
I've heard good things about Splitgate. I'd be down to try it out.
Yeah. Martin Luther King is in Fortnite. Did you guys see that?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I did see that. Hey.
I was retweeting. It was cracking me up. Sony posted about it, and somebody posted there's a react. You know, they're like, kids react to whatever. And there's one that people keep reusing. It's a kid going, Fortnite. Well, they pop up Martin Luther King. He pops up, and the king goes, Fortnite. Yeah. So it's the guy from Fortnite.
Fortnite, I think... And this is just an opinion.
Now, is this good or bad? That's the thing. People are like, is this a good thing? And it's like, well, like, is the education system so poor that we haven't taught this enough?
No, I think they know. I think Fortnite's goal is they want to become a... Okay, let me say this. When someone enters Smash Brothers, this might be a terrible analogy. Let me explain it in the most simplest way. When someone enters Smash Brothers, it is like you have peaked as a character. Almost like it's like you are going down in gaming history kind of thing. Like, is that weird to say? Like, would you guys?
So agree? You're saying Martin Luther King is going to go down in history as a video game icon?
Fortnite is trying to do this because they put in Marvel, DC. You know, they put in like all these like special people. They had Ariana Grande for the love of like you know what I mean. I think what they're just
Travis Scott,
do,
Ariana Grande, and Martin Luther King performances.
Can I ask a question? Because I've seen things about this. Martin Luther King isn't like a skin you can shoot people as.
No,
well, here's why I have an issue.
No, I'm asking for clarification before your issue. What is in the game?
He will be in an event.
It plays a video, right?
Yeah, it'll be an event. I don't know if you can get a skin, and if it is, that'd be really poor on Epic's part.
So that's
because he was a pacifist, I'm pretty sure.
That's so. When you said Martin Luther King is in Fortnite, I just got real quiet because inside I died a little bit, picturing literally Martin Luther King
holding a gun,
doing the John Wick dance when that guy killed us on the helicopter. Yeah. Like,
I don't think he's a skin.
No, he's not.
So it's an event like a Travis Scott. He's going to get up and here's my thought.
They can honor that.
Yeah,
but it's not like a concert. It's like, there's like...
I would hope not. Okay, I mean, I'd be interested to see the lineup for that concert.
But there is like screens and stuff, and you can like actively go up and you're dancing and stuff, whatever. But I mean, it's still playing.
I think for me, again,
I don't know.
And you know, political climate, whatever you want to call it, here in America, whether you're watching somewhere else, just I mean, I think it's a celebration of just of who he was and what he represented, and I'm not against that.
I'm not against it because it shines a light on who he was for kids who probably maybe don't know. Number two. Fortnite they can print money at this point. I like that they're getting weird with it. Get Travis Scott as a giant alien. Get Ariana Grande as a Final Fantasy boss giving a concert. Yeah. Get, if you've got all the money in the world, don't be like Call of Duty and just do the same thing every year. Yeah. Get weird with it.
Joe Biden's next State of the Union is going to be in Fortnite. It's going to be a giant Joe. Hey, everyone, kids.
I like when kids jump up in my lap.
I would
jump up in my lap.
You'll actually get to climb up on one of the hairy
I'd be horrified.
Legs.
I'd be absolutely. I mean, that would be insane.
That'd be crazy. We'll see what happens.
The only other things I've really been up to, man, is we played It Takes Two. We've been streaming that out there on the Hangouts.
We're almost done. I actually titled it at first finale. The last one, but the next one is the finale.
I tell you what,
maybe we can tease. By the time this goes up, it will be after. Maybe, I don't know. Whatever. If you're watching the podcast, we're going to be streaming, and when we stream, we're going to actually launch the Discord.
I'm just going to say this now because I want to go on record. Because if you watch the last Hangout, you might be like, "Why does Jacob's face look like he's resting like constantly?" I am reaching my peak on that game. I may be already over the hump.
Yeah.
It has stayed its welcome.
It's overstayed its welcome. It Takes Two.
It Takes Two?
Yeah.
Yes, it is extremely fun.
Great game.
But it's probably 2 or 3 it's 2 or 3 hours too long. Yeah. It's 3 hours too long.
I would have thought that's a 3-hour game.
No, dude.
See, the last one we played from that same developer was 6, and I think that was perfect. That 6 hours, I think, is all you need.
That's all I need of those characters. Because if I got any more, I've been cringing.
That's all you need with a co-op. like sitting down, but for this is like a 12-hour. It's like double,
and it's,
so we're hurting.
So this is the Last of Us 2 of his games.
Yeah, we're hurting.
It's definitely like the last one. I was like, hey man, there's a mini game. All right, let's go play.
Yeah, we're kind of
it's like
burnt by now.
like it's not the joy we usually. I think the last time I got excited about the game is when we were doing the top down level. And then that's when, because we came back, I was like, top down level, Diablo.
They kept changing the mechanics, and that's been really fun, I think, for a co-op thing. So one part is like top down Diablo, and the other part they turned into a fighting game at one point for like a little second.
So it's just like, but now it's like a point where I'm like, I
just
don't
finish it. Yeah.
Well, we got put into a room, and he's like, you need to find the 4 books of love, and I'm like, that's 4 more chapters.
Yeah, that's 4 more chapters.
I was like, no,
So
get a divorce.
One,
like we're done. Like
we are about to do the finale one, and during it we're gonna launch Jacob's hard work.
Man, yeah. So I've been
Discord.
working on. I guess it's just a Jacob update month.
Jacob update.
So we're excited. We're gonna be launching our Discord. You'll be finding that out here in September 1st. And
it might already be out by the time.
By the time this podcast comes up, it might already be out. You might already be a part of it.
So join it.
But I'm excited because I think for me, and I know our community has been like just dying for a place to kind of just voice some things and talk about some things and just hang out with each other. And Discord provides that platform for us to be able to do that. So I've been taking the undertaking of just developing that place and just trying to create it in where it's individualized for each of us, but also represents us as a community. Because us three have very different interests, but we have some common interests. And if we listed every single interest we had or every single common interest we had, it would be absolutely insane. So trying to dwindle that in. Dude, Discord, like, they have really, like, I'm glad they have all these, like, checks and balances, but to get stuff, like, off the ground, you have to really go through some moderation crap. Because, I mean, last thing you want is I don't want anyone posting in there some Fortnite Ariana Grande nudes or something weird. And
that's going to be one of my subsections.
What I heard was if you want to see Fortnite Ariana Grande nudes, come to our Discord.
Quick.
Like, so, I just don't.
I first, okay, 2 things. I want to talk about the nude thing. So hold that thought.
Okay.
But the second, how do they get the store? How do they join?
So we'll be
join
putting out a video, and also probably I don't know, like we'll have to decide how we're going to like officially, like we're launching it September 1st. You'll probably see a video for it. In that video, you're going to see a link that invites. Okay. You can just click on the link and take you there. It's also going to be included in like all of our socials, or whether it be Twitter, those things like that. We're going to have a link for you just to join Discord right then and there. So whenever we stream those type of things, you'll see a Discord link. And we'll make sure to set that up. You might be like, oh, I didn't know we would do that. It's super easy to do so.
Okay.
This dude from Reddit taught me.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy. Thanks, Eric.
Cool.
But I don't know if he's watching. I hope he is. It'd be cool. I told him to. But nonetheless, I'm excited just to get that out there because I think it's going to be awesome and to talk about things.
I appreciate the work you've put into this, and if you're interested in really getting to interact with us, I think that when we kind of talked about it earlier this summer, we were talking about what's the channel, what are things we don't do enough of or we want to do more of, and we all agreed we want to interact with our audience more, and this is going to be great. You put a lot of hard work into it, so we're very excited. Come join us.
We just hit 800 subscribers literally this past week, so we get to celebrate with that. And again, we've just been growing year after year. I mean, I don't remember when we started where we were at. I don't think we look at that like it's not our goal.
Yeah,
our goal is just to interact with people, and I think this is going to be a good way for us to do that. So excited for the Discord. Be looking for that. The only other thing I've been up to is I just wanted to mention because I've been absolutely bonkers about is Pokemon cards.
They've been going crazy with Pokemon cards.
It's like snorting crack, and that's probably the best way for me to compare it to. I'm just kidding. I don't snort crack.
It's like crack without the crack, kind of. When you think about it.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think you collected them when you were younger, and I don't know if you've dabbled in them at all. Or YuGiOh.
I collected when I was young.
Yeah, I've played a lot of YuGiOh.
Just really stress that when I was young.
Here's the thing: I've played a lot of YuGiOh online the past month. A ton. I understand like synchro and link summoning way better than I ever have now. The game is stinking nuts. The game's changed. You can end the game. You can end the game of YuGiOh in 2 turns. Just if you. Here's the thing. I've had people. I'm just going to rat about this because it ticks me off. I have had loaded into a game of YuGiOh, and we're playing Link and Synchro. So this is the full shebang. Like you get it all. Loaded in. The dude chooses to go first. Typically, if you choose to go first, it's because you have a deck that's built to beat your person down in 1 turn. So I was like sweating. They would load in and they type back terrible hand and then quit. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, why? Like, in OG Yu-Gi-Oh, you draw it till you figure it the frick out. Like, But this one, they're like, oh, terrible hand, I'm done. Like, and that's like,
is this with the VR you said?
No, this is just with a dueling platform. Like, I found an online browser and people come in and play, and you can build your own deck of all the cards in the world, and it's like, man, screw you guys. Like, that's not fun. Like, that bull crap.
How long did it take you to get up to speed on Synchro and XC?
It took me quite a few. I actually joined a Discord, and there was a guy who was like, "Hey, like I'll help you." And so we hopped on. We played about 4 duels. I built some decks. I understand them a lot better now, and it's not as confusing as it looks. And it actually turns the game into a lot of fun because you can do a lot of cool combos. It expands the playability of it, but it has a major downside because if you do not have your right cards, you're just... Yeah. But Magic's the same way. Like, if you're not pulling the same cards, like, you're kind of just screwed.
Magic, yeah, well, and it's built into the way Magic works is, you know, you obviously need resources, mana or land to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So if you don't pull 3 or 4 land, you need to be thinking about, should I keep this hand? But you can mulligan in Magic. It's built into the game. You throw your hand back, you just draw 1 less card. And you can do it that way.
I found out traps are like not a meta. You don't have any traps in your deck anymore. Like, it's just not a move anymore.
There's no trap cards?
You just, well, there is. They just, people are like, you use traps, you're weird. Like, because I guess what happens is like trap cards.
Sounds like a cool community.
Oh, just trap cards are like, I guess the rule, like obviously the rule is if you play a trap card, you can't play it till your next turn or like a turn has passed. Where people are really big into quick effects, so they'll play something and it just goes.
A bunch of red lights flashing.
It was an ambulance.
Oh, okay. So that's typically the
world.
But yeah, I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, but Pokemon trading cards. Just to wrap it up in most, I have gone nuts. Completely just emptied my cryptocurrency profile and just invested all in Pokemon. Because, you know, why? I'm just kidding. I don't worry about my investments.
One bad investment to another.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But here's the thing, like, and I guess I just haven't expected like this kind of mindset because I knew it was hard to get into, especially right now. Like, because I don't know what's caused it, but people have just lost their minds and started buying up all these Pokemon cards. But I have been able to meet some people and met a guy, a local shop around here that he's been really cool about giving me the hookup on some things.
Inside job.
I have been getting some terrible looks at Targets because I walk in there with my 3 brothers and I tell them each to buy 2 booster boxes and we're walking out together because they only give you a limit. And these people look at me like I'm a nuts. But hey, when you pull a Charizard,
when you get that high. You're
chasing
the dragon.
You're chasing it, man, and that's what I mean.
You're literally chasing the dragon.
These things get insane. Like,
I feel bad for kids. That's who loses out on this.
No,
Jacob is
no, yeah.
No.
I feel bad for kids
Let me
because
explain to you how they are not losing out on this. I am doing a thing for the kids. I'm giving back. All right.
Okay.
For $5, they will have access to 100 Pokemon cards. Completely at random.
Resealed.
Not even resealed. I would just pack up 100 cards for $5.
Taking all the foils
if
out.
a dad out there's like, I can't get my son any Pokemon cards, you can contact me for $5. I'll send you 100 Pokemon cards. I'll guarantee you some reverse holos and some holos. Not guaranteeing you any full arts. Just being honest. But $5, like, that's a booster pack. I'm giving back.
When I was a kid, Walmart just sold me a pack. Now I got to go to you.
Okay.
Now I got to go to you.
You spend $5 on those 10 cards, I might not get you anything, and you spend $5 on me, and you get 100 cards.
There's something about
Jacob.
opening the pack that's sealed from the people that made it.
It's random. Who cares? Like, look, I get the same amount of thrill as a kid, so why would you take that away from me? They took it away. They tried to take it away from Michael Jackson. How do you think that went?
Yeah, not good. Can I talk about the naked stuff yet?
Yeah, go for it.
I forgot about that.
I didn't. So I go to Yardsales pretty much every weekend.
Did you see a naked person in your yard sale?
Close.
Well, I'm sorry, but like you normally don't start a conversation unless it's like that.
It's going to get into nudity talk. So what happened was I pulled up to this yard sale. It was kind of in the back, kind of all the way back in this neighborhood. It went to a dead end. I went back there. Okay, I finally found it. Went back there. Pulled up. Walked up. The person walked out of the house. They weren't even out in front of the thing. So I come up. I'm looking around. They're like, hey, yeah, you into those? You into this or whatever? I'm kind of looking at stuff. I'm like, cool. It's kind of whatever. Cool shirt. I look up on the porch, and there is a ginormous stack of porn. And he was like, yeah, I got those nudie magazines right here and got some porn right here. And there were stacks of porn DVDs like all on the porch. And all I could think of was like, what if like a mom and her sons and stuff are coming through, and it's like it's all like out.
Oh my gosh.
It's all on the porch, like all right there.
Well, he's got to advertise it, I guess.
So it took me a while to load all that in the trunk, but I did get it in there. No, I'm just kidding. But so I saw that, whatever. And then last year, I look into a cardboard box, tons of vintage Playboy magazines, which are actually pretty pricey things. I think eBay's like, you can't even resell those. I don't even know what you would do
I'm sure
with
there
them.
are some rules.
I don't know what you would do with them now. Wink, wink. What you would get use out of them now. But I looked down there like, yeah, those are really nice. You should get them. And I was like, let me call my wife and you ask her about those. But I went today to a yard sale.
Oh, did you go to the same yard sale?
I went to a different yard sale, and I pulled up, and they had a bunch of magazines. But like I didn't look at those or whatever what they were in. And this was an older guy, like in a flame T-shirt and stuff. Just had porno vibes. But I'm like looking at stuff, getting some stuff, whatever. And another old guy comes up.
What kind of bad start?
Another old guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, where's the good stuff?" And they start both laughing. He's like, "I sold all those last year." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" There's this. So if you are looking for physical porn, go to yard sales.
I'm
surprised at the amount of porn I have found at yard sales. I just think that's something, I don't know.
I don't see the resale value.
Just put it like in the back, and if you see a creepy guy like, hey, do you like porn? Just do that.
Or just put a sign out saying, I have special magazines.
Yes, just do that, but it's like, it's all out, and it's like, that's weird.
It sounds like you were giving him those vibes because he was...
yeah.
I walk up, and they're like, you want porn.
Yeah, dude, what the
Look at this skinny little freak. I got something.
Hey, he's into this kind of stuff.
I got something for you.
Man, I don't know what I would do to that conversation.
Look, used games, you take out the disc and you put it in, you're not touching it a lot. You know, like I just think some things aren't meant to be used.
Or resold, like in some ways. I mean, I'm going to ask a question. I might regret this. How old do you think that person was?
Which one?
Well, the first guy.
The first guy?
The one that shamelessly just had him out.
Oh, 50. Yeah. And the other guy was probably 50.
So... yeah, I guess the internet wasn't popular back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's definitely older people that have had that and collected that and stuff.
Yeah.
And, but then, I forgot. I went to another one in it just seemed like a nicer neighborhood or whatever. And I'm looking through, and he's like, yeah, I got some comic books over there. I was like, I'll check those out. And there was Marvel comic books. And I was like, let's see if there's any older stuff, because I don't know anything about whatever is in there. So I go maybe 5 Marvel comics deep, and I see Penthouse and just naked breasts are right there.
Again, imagine a 5-year-old.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
It's right there.
They
right
put it.
Marvel.
They put it there because only little boys and older men are going into those comic books and flipping through. Now, if you're a woman and you like comics, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying where we just on average.
They're population.
Because the moms aren't going and flipping through that. They're they're planting it.
You know what a kid's doing?
But the 10-year-old kid is going, oh my gosh.
He grabs all 10 that just shows the Marvel. He's like, Mom, can I buy these Marvel comics? And then he goes home, and little does he know, he just bought some porn.
Tons of Penthouse.
But
I was so shocked at just how prevalent.
I'm gonna be just completely transparent because you just brought this conversation up.
Okay.
The past couple weeks, I've had a lot of conversations with my inner dialogue of people about the subject of porn.
Okay.
Not in like a negative.
Like, what's your favorite?
No. I've read a lot of research recently, and I follow some things. Like, I am extremely I'm just not for it. Like, you just need to know who I am. I'm just not I'm not for it. But we've had conversations because people were just things that got brought up, and it was just like, hey, what do you think about this? And I was like, so when you brought up that story, I was like, huh? And I was like, this past 3 weeks, it's just been
you've just been full of porn
conversations
talk.
after conversation after conversation. I play Mass Effect, but I mean that's probably the farthest I go, man. And
so put in the comments your favorite episode of I don't know, Mass Erect.
Anyway, Jacob, you told a lie.
What?
After the fourth thing,
Oh,
you told a
son
lie.
of a gun.
What's the lie?
You told a lie.
All right, so let me
No,
explain
no,
to you.
no, 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 no.
I
no.
want to explain this.
No, you shut up.
What's the lie?
Jacob said a lie and said he hasn't been up to anything else. And that's a lie. And I can tell you why I know that's a lie. Because,
The lie detector stats came back, and that's
I bought a
false.
game that Jacob bought too.
Actually,
And let me talk. This is my story because you had the chance. You didn't use it.
because he's talking about porn.
I bought a game called Madden 22.
Sounds like you made a terrible purchase.
And I haven't bought a Madden in like 20 years. And it's exactly what you think it would be. But I'm in a league. It's a football game. I'm in a league. Jacob asked me to be in a league. And I'm the new guy in the league. Jacob's the commissioner of the league.
I am.
And Jacob puts me in his division, probably thinking...
By random.
No, probably thinking this guy's going to be easy to beat twice a season.
Go ahead.
So the other day, I get on. I played
randomized.
my first game against Jacob. Jacob, how did the game between you and I, division game, how did
Yeah.
it turn out?
All right, so let me explain to you that. You're right.
Well, what was the score? Let's start there.
I don't.
It was 48-26.
Was it the final?
I destroyed you.
I would argue otherwise, but let me explain to you why it's different. And you're fine. Travis came in. He did win the game. I'm not one of those people to sit here and say like this person is like I'm a terrible Madden player. I'll just straight up be honest with you. It's fine. At the end of the day, when you look at the game of like football and these things, like we can have an argument. Me and Travis both know a lot about football. Like there are a lot of things we know. You know a lot about like the stats and like the inner workings of a team. I know a lot about player personnel, a lot about coverages and like how to hide things, those different types of and Madden gameplay. Yeah. You know, that's where the difference is. You haven't played Madden forever. You know, so Travis comes into this game and does the one thing, and he doesn't know I'm terrible unless I said it, and I don't know if I did or not. There is one thing I can't do in that game well, and that is stop the run. I have never. I played Adam. He was in my division last year, our friend Adam, and Adam was every year but 1 year the league's leading rusher because he does a great job running the ball. He'd run for about 250 to 300 on me every time. He would only pass for like 75 yards, which you only pass for like 110, which is no different. So I'm used to it. The difference was Travis didn't run it to the outside a lot. He just ran it right up the freaking gut, which is more annoying because I have decent linebackers. They're not pitiful, but they're just not. I don't know. So I actually looking into the game mechanics, I've learned a lot. I'm excited to play you again because now I know why you were doing something. I don't know if you know this now. I can tell you. I don't care.
You could share it on the.
I run a 3-4 defense. So typically in a 3-4 defense, you have 3 down linemen, 4 outside linebackers, 2 in the middle. If you only rush 3, your entire team gets a negative run defense bonus. So basically, in the old Madden 21, which I'm susceptible for, I used to do this. I would only rush 2 people because the 2 people were good enough to get pressure. And who wouldn't want 9 people in coverage? In this new Madden, in order to decentivize you only rushing less than 4 people, aka 3 and 2, every time you take a lineman away, if the person runs, they have a way better chance of pancaking you consistently. So again, I was rushing 3 people because I run a 3-4 defense. Occasionally I rush 4, which isn't always the case. But when I did rush 4, he was still running on me, so it doesn't take away the whole thing.
You were dropping 4 backers into coverage?
I play a lot of zone defense because I get passed on a lot too, but that's because I use my safeties and linebackers to kind of take that away. But it doesn't make a lot of sense though, because you did run on me. Don't think like this is the only reason why you beat me. But now I know going into like next game not to pick certain plays because I was picking.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We play again tonight.
We're literally going to play tonight. I will say this. This Madden is still not great. It's a football game. And again,
this thing is held together with duct tape and strings,
here's
man.
the thing that ticks me off because
it feels like it's falling apart when you navigate the menus.
Go back to the last podcast of last year, and I'm sure you'll hear me within one of those 2 within this month. You'll hear me say the same stupid things. It's a reskin of every Madden, but dang it, because it's a football game, I'm stuck playing it because I love football so much. And the thing that ticks off more than anything, and I'm sure you can contest, we have friends who don't have PS5s, not calling them poor, just unfortunate because they can't get them right now because of the way the freaking market is. But we're forced to play in the last gen model, and the last gen model is literally just a reskin of Madden 21. The problem is it's broken compared to Madden 21. Zone coverage does not work at all unless you user everything. Now it's a 50-50 ball whenever you throw the ball, which is great. The only problem is if our safeties actually play defense, and actually did what they're supposed to, it'd be better. There is a horrible animation where apparently if you go into the game with a custom playbook, the other side of the team completely is invisible. Completely invisible.
We've ran into a lot of weird glitches.
Yeah, and it makes me mad because now, here's another thing that takes off. One of the number one reasons people are getting for like this mad because they've revamped some franchise mode things, and they added a new layer to scouting, which scouting is huge if you play a long-term franchise with a group of people. If you scout really well and you draft really well, you can build a really good team. Screw the fantasy draft. And guess what? They didn't put it out on launch. They put it out on a patch that's going to come out here next month. And guess what it means? If you have a franchise that is currently running and the patch comes out, you don't get that update added. You have to start a whole new league. So I'm sitting there and I'm drafting, and I love my team.
We have 8 people, and we drafted and we started a league, and we found out the other day we have to restart our league when that patch comes out.
And I have like young players. I have Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is now a superstar, so I have 2 superstar wide receivers. I have Terrence Marshall Jr., who is also a star wide receiver that is young, a rookie as well. I have a really good receiving core. I have a really good young quarterback in Kyler Murray. I have Najee Harris. I have a great team that 2 years from now is going to be phenomenal to play with. We're not going to see them from 2 years from now. That's the problem. I think I'm not saying this, and because I don't think anyone else is going to know, but nonetheless, between me and you, I'm hoping to get this franchise at least 5 years, but once that update comes out, people are kind of chomping at the bit wanting to go to it.
Yeah, for sure. My thought on this is because I have a rant, a little bit of one. So we have PS5s, you and I do. Yep. People in our league play on PS4. So I wanted to buy the game for PS4. Mm-hmm. So when I went on to buy the game, it's $70
for the PS5.
to buy it for the PS5. And then for $100, you can buy the MVP edition for the PS5. And it comes with the PS4 version as a download. So here's the problem. I don't even want to pay $70 for this game. But I have to have the PS4 version to play with you guys.
Yeah.
And they don't bundle the PS4 version with the $70 version.
Nope.
They bundle it with the $100 version. If you're charging $70,
I thought you found a way around that because you.
Well, he did, but this is the bullcrap part.
So here, no, I didn't find a way around it. What I did was, when you're in the PS5 store, you can't find the PS4 game. So I went on the internet and I looked for the PS4 digital version of Madden, which I was able to buy for $60.
Okay.
But here's the problem. Now, when everybody wants to upgrade to the next gen version, I have the old gen version. I will have to pay $70 for the new one. So you either pay $60 now and $70 later, or $100 now. You either do $60 now and $70 later, or you do $100. You can't buy the game for.
So you had to pay. Did you pay the $100?
Yeah, no, I paid $60 because I don't know if I'm going to buy the next gen one.
Okay.
But my point is this. Look, if you're going to Xbox is so much better than Sony on this. Xbox, you buy the game, you own the game. It doesn't matter this gen, next gen, you own the game. And if your hardware can do the next gen, you just do it.
Yeah, I'm
this PlayStation stuff is complete crap.
Well, this is an EA issue. This isn't a PlayStation.
No, it's both. It's both because you shouldn't have 2 different versions of the game.
Well, again, this is an EA issue because the Madden 22 on PS4 is completely. I have both versions. I play the PS5 version on my own for my own individual superstar mode. It's completely different. It's a different style. Has home field advantage different additions. It has different scheming. It has a whole new updated feel in terms of running. It runs slower, but it's a good kind of slow. It feels a lot more real, which is awesome. It's still a crappy game, but gosh, I hate when I have to say that.
What's the Xbox Madden?
So his thing, I think what you said is that you can just automatically upscale it. If you own the game, you own the game. The problem is, again, EA is a bunch of dirtbags in a lot of ways. And everyone knows this. Whatever they think they touch is awful. But they did not make the PS4 version accessible on the PS5. Okay. They said you either buy the PS5 version or you buy a $100 version, which I bought the $100 version because I wanted both of them because I figured that eventually we might dip our toe into a PS5 version.
Look, if I buy Ghost of Tsushima right now for the PS5 and pay $70, I can play with Zach Campbell on his PS4.
EA doesn't give you that ability.
Yes, I know.
2K doesn't give you that ability.
And it's bad business that if I pay for this next gen version, just give me the download for the crappy old gen version. Let me be able to access it.
Let me tell you why they don't. People buy it already.
The mic will not pick that up.
People buy it already. I'm just trying to I'm trying to prove the point. People will just spend it. They will, and that's the crappy part about it. Want to know why? I did. and I'm not saying I represent everyone.
Yeah.
But my point is like people spend money on 2K every year. They will spend over $300 on 2K because they'll buy the same thing and then they'll buy all the VC. And guess what? A new gen model will come out and then they're gonna get a new gen console and they're gonna buy that game again. And guess what? These companies rake in millions upon millions of dollars. Madden's one of those profitable games among all the games. Look it up from the past year. It is, and that's the crappy part about it. EA knows this.
Stop liking football, guys.
I love football.
Give it 1 year. No one watches football.
Here,
that was last year.
Travis, here's the thing. Let me ask you this: are you enjoying being in a league with people?
Yeah, no, I was gonna round this whole thing out with. The game is kind of shoddy. It works. You can play it. It's fun, and it is fun. But it's at its best when you get to play with people. 100%. And if everybody's on the same board of this is jank, yeah, it kicks us when we start playing, or it does this, or it does that, or there's this glitch, or the drafting doesn't make any sense. But if you've got a group of people that all like football, it can be fun.
We have a good group of guys
That's it.
who played this together I've been playing since 2016 with these guys. I put hundreds of hours in Madden. I become a nerd with it. I'm excited to play Travis tonight. I might even just stream it just to show you. I'm just kidding. No, I won't.
We should stream it. That'd be fun.
I used to stream it to my Twitch channel whenever I just got bored. I haven't hooked anything up. I'd probably want to stream it to our DweeBros channel if we did, but maybe at a future date when I got my
that could be really fun.
Yeah, it'd be cool. So yeah, I mean, me and Travis are going at it. And Madden,
you won't have to pay $130 to watch them.
That's right. You can experience everything Madden has to offer.
It's like a pay-per-view
for free.
Awesome.
So that's everything we've been up to.
The only other games quickly that I've been playing is I went back and I platinumed Astro Bot. Is it Rescue Mission or is that Rescue Mission is the PS5 one?
Yeah.
And that game freaking rules. I will say I have an announcement to make.
Oh.
We're going to find out the competitive nature or non-competitive nature. I made it a point as I went through all the time trials for the trophy to beat all of Zach's times.
Oh my gosh.
You were second place on every single one.
Are you just now telling him that?
Yes.
How do you feel about that, Zach?
I think next podcast, he's still not going to finish leftovers, and I'm going to be first place in all those games.
I don't know what it is with me. I'm a little like nefarious today.
Nancy.
I beat you, and then I beat all his times.
Here's the problem with Travis. Travis will talk crap and then lose at something, and then just blame it on somebody. And then on top of that, let's be honest, and then Travis will win at something and just talk about how crappy you are at it. And so, dude,
when we played,
chat talking crap.
Well, I was talking crap because I was being funny, but when we played, I was not rubbing it in.
Travis contested. When I play, I become the most depressing person ever because I just hate.
It got a little dark in that chat.
Dude. Well, my friend Michael, he's just sitting there, and like when you got off, he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, no, I just lost to Travis. Of course I'm not okay. Like, I'm ticked. I want to go play in traffic.
Here's my approach, because here's the thing I didn't tell you. There's a guy in our league named Trace. Trace beat me like 37-3. He pulled my pants down.
Yeah.
I threw like 6 interceptions. And so I was pretty low on myself. I beat all the computer games, but I lost to Trace. And Trace is probably the best player in the league.
Yeah.
So then I played Jacob, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. So I made it. I stuck to Travis ball. I made it simple as possible. And dude, I beat your butt, right?
I'm going to make a t-shirt.
But I was totally chill about it. But then here's my thing. It's like rappers, right? Yeah. When a rapper's like early in their career and they've had some bad songs, they've maybe had a good song. They figure out who's the biggest rapper. They suck. They're horrible. So I got in the chat and said, I just got done whooping Jacob's butt, and Trace, I'm coming for you. The dude that killed me. I told him, I said, I'm coming for you. You don't even know what's coming. You got a storm coming. I was just writing all this trash talk because I feel like that's what you got to do. If you're not the top, you got to call out the person on top.
I beat Trace last year in the Super Bowl. But I mean, I'm not. Again, it's just one of those things where you just get down on yourself. Competitive natures of people, like whenever you play any game that's competitive, you find, like, I don't know about you, but if I play Mario Kart with people, I can't repeat the things I say. Like, it's just, it drives me nuts because that game in itself will just make me mad.
Whenever I play Mario Kart by myself, I get very competitive. When I play with you guys, it's all the blue shell sucks. This is crap. Blah blah blah. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I don't think you're that. I don't think you're like that at all.
I actually have found myself becoming more competitive as I get older for some reason. I don't know. I'm like aging backwards. I'm like Benjamin Button with some of this stuff where I feel like getting competitive is like a young man's game, I guess. But I don't know.
Hey, somebody said this.
It can be fun. I found the fun in it.
I'm competitive at Tetris.
Somebody threw this out the other day, and I was like, dang, that's true. He's like, if they're naming winners and losers, I don't want to be the loser.
That's hilarious.
It's like,
So I
man.
found myself like kind of dipping my toe, getting a little bit more competitive in my later years. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get crazy. I've only been playing one other game. Zach came over. We did a hangouts for Bioshock, or if you don't like it, Biosuck.
Do you not like it?
No, I really love that game.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you because I've
I'm
never
just
played
saying.
them.
I'm just giving both sides here.
Never played it.
Yeah. So that game is also really old. That's like 14 years old now. Came out in 2007. That game is so. When we booted up, we were all like remembering. Like, oh yeah, it takes you here, and you get to see the. Have you ever played Bioshock?
I really like Bioshock on the
Bioshock.
360.
So yeah, going in, getting to see Rapture for the first time, and it's also really cool because I'm actually reading the books that this kind of like the concept is taken from. So it's taken from the books from Ayn Rand, specifically the one called Atlas Shrugged, of this concept of like, hey, like let's go make our own place, like away from society, and it's all about the work and lifting your own self up by your own bootstraps. It's all like hyper libertarian. That's kind of where libertarian thought came from, was out of the spout of like into these books. It's pretty cool to like play that game with that in mind. Like this is kind of like a comic book version of that. Like what if we actually did that? Like we created this whole land under the sea. So it's cool revisiting that with those like revisiting the material that influenced it. But yeah, it's cool. The world and like this, it's just so, that's what was at the time just so fresh at the time. Like you're going underwater. It's this world that was built in the 40s or 50s or whatever it was, and like the whole world went to hell. And it's just like there's people running around that got hooked on this drug down there because everyone it's like the hyper version of no government. Like this is what happens in that. But
when I was a kid, I think a lot of that went over my head. Like,
yeah,
I could tell something went wrong, but like I didn't even you ever think back when you were like 14 playing something, you're like, I don't think I was even processing what was happening.
Yeah, there's deeper levels that you might pick up on now.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, it's old timey and people are crazy.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't picking up on there was a drug or, I kind of remembered some of maybe the labor, type stuff like in the ads. But like I've had it on my list for a while of one I'd like to go back and check out again. And it sounds like, does it hold up? Do you like it still?
It does, but it's something that I also don't know if I'll beat again because we experienced it on the stream. Like I started shooting stuff and I was like, Zach, I remember every bullet and everything you pick up, you have to conserve. Hyper. Like this stuff runs out quick and you can't find a lot of it. Like it takes a while to build up your ammo and whatever. Sure enough, like we came up to this part and we were all out of ammo. We're all out of this. Our health packs are down. And then we got killed by Big Daddy and it's like, oh, okay, well I have to go back to where the Big Daddy's at and I have nothing.
Sucks.
So I have to like go scrounge around for stuff. I don't want to do that anymore. Like I don't have that in me. I don't think anymore. But the game itself and the world and the story and stuff's
It's
fun.
a good 20.
But it's like it might be something. And even Zach was like, yeah, if I'm returning to a game I beat before or something, maybe I'll go back on easy in some of this stuff. Yeah. Like and just give me an easier mode just to experience the story again. Because like I don't have it in me to do some of this stuff anymore.
I never beat that game because I remember it being really hard.
Yeah.
And I was never into. I've gotten better as I've gotten older. I like dabbling with magic a little bit, or even when I played the Souls games, I never used magic. But for this Platinum, I had to use a lot of magic. And I remember that game, it was like guns, but then you could shoot lightning and stuff. And I didn't understand how to read the numbers and like do that stuff and like plan it. Like I just had the abilities, I'd use them. It's like, this isn't as good as the gun. I'll use the gun. I think that's part of why I didn't beat it is I think you need to really engage with those systems.
Yeah, you have to use those systems and shock people when there's like water in them. Okay, use the shock thing. Okay, use flame here or whatever. But no, that game's still good, but I don't think I see myself. I was actually earlier this year like, I'm going to beat Bioshock again.
You're like, I'm not doing it.
I was like, I don't think I'm going to now.
Wow, that changes quickly.
One other thing I liked about that game that has stuck with me, or maybe I'm remembering it wrong, that is one of the first games I remember. I'm a sucker for like save systems that are like conceptualized in the world where you don't just go to a menu and save. Like the Souls games are that way. But like, I remember in that game, don't you like go to like these like phone booths and it's like you put your consciousness in a new body if you die, like it loads
infinite. That might be infinite.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I'm thinking of it. Maybe it's System Shock 2.
I've never played.
I think that's Bioshock. It's infinite.
Okay.
They might do that in Infinite. I can't remember if that is how you save in that.
Yeah. I thought I remembered that in that game, but
That could be.
yeah, there was something I was thinking of that was that way.
But that's all I've been gaming.
Well, we have to ask a question that we ask every podcast. At this point, we've been doing it almost all year. Have you finished Leftovers yet?
I am.
Now, I want to mind you, we made a bet.
Are you on the path? If you, God help me, if you say you're on
No,
the
I'm dead serious. We have met a.
I watched the pastor episode.
Okay, he is past the pastor episode.
I thought you. Now hold on. You told us you watched a couple episodes.
I watched the pastor episode.
A couple is one.
And well, hold on. I got a few here. I watched the pastor episode. It really made me frustrated because the concept. No, seriously, no. This really is true. The whole concept of where the show's at right now is they're in this town.
Yep.
And it's Miracle, and it's just there's this big debate of did something magic happen here that nobody disappeared, and it's kind of all baked into the lore, and I like all that stuff.
Okay,
but like the episode starts and the pastor has to go with his brain dead wife to get a test done, and they leave, and I'm immediately like, why wouldn't you go to a doctor inside the town? Because someone's going to jump you for that wristband. That's the first thing I said to Jess as soon as they left. And then, they drive forever away and they have this awkward encounter with these doctors. That was all interesting. And you find out the wife's pregnant and all that. I was like, okay. And then he's driving back and like he sees people broken down. I was like, oh, he's going to get jumped for his wristband. Like, don't get out of the car. Like, you have an extremely valuable thing. You can get into the town. Don't get out of your car. He gets out of his car, starts talking to the guy. He turns his back to the guy. Guy knocks him out, takes a wristband off his hand. I'm like, there you go, dumbass. And then he gets back and they're like, where's your wristband? He's like, I don't have my wristband. And it's like, pull out your freaking wallet. Like, where's your ID? Like, he didn't have his ID either. This guy is just an idiot. He has no plan. And then it's like this big, like, Scooby-Doo, like, they bring the main characters who I like back into a scene, and they're getting them fixed up. Like, we'll get you a wristband. And there's this guy that's like a firefighter that burns houses down, I guess, in this scene. And he confronts him about his wife. He decides all of a sudden he's going to get really mad about his wife, saying that his wife has had a baby and you need to go into the town and tell them what you did. I'm not going to do it. So then they just say, okay, we're not giving you a wristband. And he's back. It's just this, it's extremely contrived. If you want to tell a good story about a man with a wife and she's brain dead having a baby, build it on something more compelling than you lost your wristband. Like, make it like there are ways to write the scenario that are more believable and less like dumb. Like, it's just so benign and stupid. Dude, he owns a house in the town. They don't have records. He can't prove his identity any other way than having a literal plastic wristband.
That's how chaotic it is right now.
No, it's not that chaotic. They have an office. They literally have records. They can prove he lives there. All that to the side. The whole show is so.
Didn't they show that earlier with Harvey? What's the first name?
Steve.
The cop. Kevin Harvey. Doesn't he go in there and they have a problem and he doesn't
have his wristband in the beginning of the show and they end up letting him in because he can prove who he is.
Okay.
It just and I'm thinking I'm the pastor. Okay, I get you want to call Kevin because that's your brother-in-law. You could also call the pastor where you work.
Yeah. Call
the guy you work for.
Well, no, he doesn't. Wait, how far is it the episode after? Because doesn't he call the people and then he doesn't want to do the thing?
No, but like he works for them at this point in the show.
But they show up. Kevin shows up.
They do. That's what I was saying. And then they decide they're not going to help because he won't admit that he had sex with his brain dead wife.
Yes.
No. And so they say, I'm not giving you a wristband. And it just is the dumbest paced episode. I just really was gritting my teeth. I really didn't enjoy it. I liked at the end he got in the stocks. That was kind of an interesting moment. But like, and I like there was the guy hit him with the thing and like it was doing like these people are in so much pain they want to beat somebody thing. Like it just also really small thing. Guy tells him, I need $1,000 if you want directions back into town. Well, I only have $20. You need $1,000. So he finds a lady and he has this conversation with her. He's like, I really need some money. I really need some money. Help a good Christian man. And she's like, how much do you need? Okay, he has $20. He needs $1,000. He said, I need $800. That's what he said to her. I need $800. Bitch, you need $980. He says a number that doesn't add up. He didn't ask for 900. She said no. He asked for 800. Then he goes to the guy. Do you have $1,000? No, I only have 820. Because you're dumb. You didn't ask for 980. It's just written extremely badly. It's an extremely poorly written show.
I think that's who he is. Like I guess why I watch this show.
Just ask for the right amount of money.
He's a moron. The dude.
Don't make me watch a 60-minute episode about the moron in the cast when you already have good characters.
Okay, I'm gonna say something, and you can contest this. But some of the stuff you're saying sounds a little bit CinemaSins-y. And this is what I mean by that. What I mean by that is the concepts of the show. I get all the stuff you're saying.
100%. I get it.
All the stuff you're saying, if the money was off or whatever, I didn't notice that. Him getting like pulled over and whatever, I didn't even think of that. Because when I watch a show, this is just my mind going into like a show or a movie. If it is like really off kilter and it doesn't make sense, like it's really done a bad job. But for me, I go in so almost not naive, but like I'm like trying to digest what's the story trying to do. So for the pastor, it's this guy who wants to live that like this is my faith. Yeah. Like my faith is in God. But everything in that show
is nothing.
Is him, okay, do you really? And he finds out maybe not. Like he's not really a faithful guy or he's not really a good guy. And he has to test that. And he's like, what is faith? What is my belief? And he's fighting that. That's what's compelling to me in those episodes. But for you, you're like, the money was wrong and he shouldn't have pulled over. That goes past my head. That goes over my head.
I'm bringing out specific things that just really dug into my side because I approach it. Every episode I tell Jess, I like parts of the show. I'm open to whatever's going to happen.
Yeah.
It just like is falling apart before my eyes. Like, what is happening? Like, I looked at Jess and I said, apart from any individual thing, like I said, I actually don't know how the show wants me to feel. I actually have no idea. I've never had a show where I watch and I feel nothing and I don't know what they're trying. Yeah. I can generally say they want me to feel sad or they want me to feel hopeful. They want me to feel on my edge. I was watching the episode and we were 50 minutes in. I said, Jess, I don't know where this is going. This is paced extremely awkwardly, and I don't know what I'm supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And so it does not work for me. That episode did not. Then there was another episode that I thought was better, and it was more focused on Kevin and the wife, and there was a guy in town who works for the disappearance bureau, and they had like a kind of like a gala, I don't like a thing for the girls that disappeared.
Yeah,
that was a really good episode. I really liked that. I thought that was all really compelling. And
is that with the one where they're like, not now? He comes in with the goat. That is so freaking funny.
When he came in with the goat, and she's like, no, not now. She is my favorite character. I really love her, and I like Kevin a lot. Yeah. I've grown to like certain characters in the show, and I give it a chance every time. But I don't watch things. We've talked about enough movies. I don't sit and look for plot. I don't think plot hole. It's not about it being a plot hole. That's not my point. It's nothing to do with that. I think pointing out plot holes is like going to a magic show and be like, oh well, then we didn't see them. But I'm not about that. But I am about. Okay, I'm giving 60 minutes of my time. Like, make it like a paced thing. Like, make it you're trying to get something across, and it just feels so disheveled at times.
Well,
that episode in particular. So that's what I've seen, and then I'm up to where I am curious to watch the next episode. The neighbor lady threw a rock through their window, so I think like the two houses, like the neighbors, they're coming to a head. So
you got some stuff to go through. But you are starting to make some progress.
He did watch some episodes.
I don't know, man. I think for me, like I'm the type of person where like I gotta take it all in stride, because if I watch it, and this is how I am, I watch it in bits and pieces, I lose my connection to it, and it gives me a harder time to give a more meaningful impression. Now you are obviously probably a lot different. You can pick something up, leave it, and then you can pick it up and be right in the same spot you were before.
Well, if I'm super compelled by something, I don't put it down. So
that's how I was with the leftovers, I guess. Yeah. But like for me, like it doesn't matter if I could be compelled by something, but there's times where I have to put it down, and like I have to come back to it. And I'm like, oh, I have to get back into this mindset. Like I have to instantly re-jump where I was. That's why like so when you had that complaint with the pastor, I didn't feel that because I watched this and. How many days, dude? I was complaining to you because you wouldn't get off Plex. I forget how many I was on it that much.
Yeah, the Plex was.
But that was like that's how much I was into it, because like I got that character. I was like, man, this dude's an absolute idiot. Like, I mean, he loves God. He's an idiot.
What compelled me with the pastor, why I love the pastor, is that of like his faith, and the show keeps every turn throws a new thing at him, and he has to battle that. And to me, the show, like, I get, like, you're looking at these characters, you're disappointed. Like, these aren't, like, lost level characters deep, like the brother or whatever.
I only know if it's an issue with the characters. It's more the pacing.
it's the characters.
I thought it was the pacing.
It's the characters. It's the way the show's written. I don't think it's paced well typically. Okay. Now, there are good episodes that are paced well. I'm not. Look, I mean, at this point, keep talking.
What I was going to say was, for me, I did end up enjoying the characters. There's some that are not like hyper developed, like that brother or whatever. There's stuff that happens or whatever later in the show. But for me, it was the underlying conversation, and Lost did this too, of like faith and belief and like what is belief. And this show, I think, does beautiful imagery with that, like beautiful moments where I was like captivated by that, of like I've never seen a show really do that so well and like tie that stuff together.
It's not, but I hear you, but it's not done well. And here's a perfect example, because I'm super into religious imagery. Like, I love the movie Mother. It was literally the Bible, but in an allegory. Like, I love that stuff. That stuff gets me out of bed in the morning. I love Lost. Here's an example 1A of how it's not. In the pastor episode, at the very beginning, they introduce a character who's up on top of a trailer, and he's in these stocks.
Yes.
And it's this whole concept of this guy is in there. Yeah. He's basically stuck there. He can't get out until someone takes his space. And they tell him that at the beginning of the episode. He doesn't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then he kind of goes on an arc throughout the episode where he can't get in. He finally gives up, even though he can go in at the end, and he doesn't go in. He lets his wife go in with this kid, or I don't remember exactly, but then he goes out, and it's this big moment. He takes the place of the man in the stocks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, I really like that ending. Even though I hated that episode, I like that ending because I got it. It was a Job-type story. This guy is just, everything's going wrong, whether he's doing smart things or not, whatever. I like that imagery a lot. But here's where it fails for me, Zach. And this is not cinema sins. This is pacing. All right? In the next episode, it's not focused on him. The last we knew of him, he's stuck in the stocks. Okay? Halfway through that episode, the sister decides she's going to go visit her brother.
Yeah.
When she gets there, where is he? He's not in the stocks where we last saw him.
Yeah.
He's literally sitting there eating breakfast, hanging out with other people.
Yeah.
And he's getting out of the stocks. Like, he's no longer in the stocks.
Yeah. And
it's just like they let me out, but nobody took my space. Like, what is the message here? Did he take somebody's place meaningfully, or did he just do it for a second while he was on screen, and then off screen he got out and nobody cares now? Like, it's just like, why not leave him in the stocks? Let his sister go see that. Be like, what the hell is going on? This is insanity. Like, they don't explain it.
No, they don't. But I mean, I can look at it and say they gave a purpose to something that never really is supposed to have a purpose in the first place.
That's the whole point of the show. Nothing has a purpose. They'll set something up, and then an episode later.
Do you see why? Do you see why he's like, oh, then this is the only way? And then it was like, no, it's not.
I think I understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're saying.
Did hit it on. There is a lot of stuff in the show where characters put everything into, like,
this is it.
Even the pastor is like, this means God is sending me here, and then you find out
it was naked on the stocks.
It's something stupid. So like, now that you're talking through that, I'm like remembering, like, like some of these characters put everything into like a belief.
But it's not just the characters; it's the show. They're making this melodrama out of this moment of him taking the place, and then
I can see that.
Let me explain this. And then you see him the next episode, and it's like it's not like it happened, and then they explain. It's like it never happened. It's like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So what the hell was the point of the moment? Because it had no weight, and he's not a changed person for it. And the people in the community aren't a changed people for it. They're the same weird carnival people they were before. Maybe if they're trying to say you can have these things you think are meaning, it's giving them too much credit. I think they just decided, well, for this episode, we need him out of the stock. So let's just have a scene where he's next to it and he's like, that was tough. But not address it. It feels like different people wrote different episodes and they said, oh, you ended with him in the stocks. I don't need him to be in the stocks. I actually need him to be hanging out talking.
I just don't remember that ever sticking out.
In Lost, if you end with somebody in the woods stuck somewhere, the next episode, it doesn't matter if you just show them or you show someone finding them. It continues from that same point. This feels like a relay race. Oh, I'm going to run for an episode. Here's a baton. I'm going to run for an episode. These are the themes I want to show. Okay, here's a baton. And you just look at it and it's like, I like this and this and this. I didn't like this and this. These things look like they didn't go together. It's like the constant change off between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Every freaking episode, they're changing. Like, there's no like connectivity. That's my frustration. And I don't think that's CinemaSins. I think I'm just looking. You could be like Breaking Bad, where the whole show takes place in 2 months. You could be like Lost, where it takes place over years and they leave and they go. It could be like a sitcom. I don't care what it is. Make it connect, like make it feel cohesive. And that's my complaint.
I'm glad you guys didn't talk about it, because here's the thing. We could probably spend another 5 hours talking about this, because it sounds like here's the thing. I know you're watching it and you're holding your end of the bet.
Yeah, no, and I was telling Jess the other day, I want to keep watching it. There are things I like about it, but I just, that episode had things that it perfectly encapsulated things that it just makes you go, what's going on?
I'm looking forward to next month when Travis finally completes The Leftovers.
Season 2.
If he completes it.
Is going to be done next podcast.
We'll see. You think it's going to happen?
I'll try to finish season 2. I was trying to finish it before this one.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I've watched one other show. Really?
What have you been watching?
An anime called Noragami. Have you guys seen that? Have you guys heard about that? Really good anime. It's on Hulu. It's on Funimation. Great anime. I recommend. Honestly, I've been watching a lot of anime lately, but this one's been really awesome because it's based out of like Japan. I like most animes, but
that's new for anime.
What it is basically is like in Japan, there's a bunch of mini gods, and all these mini gods are like they represent different things, and they have worshippers. So, for example, there's a god of kickboxing, and he has all these people who worship him. And the god only stays around as long as people are worshiping him. And then there's a god named Yato, who is a god who is not worshipped. And all he's trying to do is run around and do odd tasks so people just remember him. So that way he doesn't disappear in obscurity. So he does odd tasks for 5 yen. He might go clean your gutters, but for 5 yen.
Okay.
Which is absolutely nothing. And it's a story about him and like some stuff that's going on in his life. And I think what was really cool about at least this anime was, I guess what it is, because it's like one of those action things, but when people die, they enter something called like a far shore. And it's basically like the in-between before they go to like the afterworld or not. And if he chooses to, he can accept you as a weapon. And this is when it gets weird. It gets really weird. So like you're like a dead person and I'm like one of those like whatever gods. If I'm like, I'm going to turn you into a regalia is what they call it. And he gives you a name. So you'd be I'm going to name you, TV, the regalia. And whenever I call your name TV, you become a dagger or whatever you become. You get assigned a weapon out of random. So I've been watching this show because he's this nobody who's trying to become this almighty dude. And it's him it's like, how do I put this? It's like an action comedy almost. I don't know if you ever see a lot of that. I'm trying to think of like the other action comedies you see.
Like One Punch Man?
Yeah, One Punch Man would probably fit that around, but it's not as funny as One Punch Man. It has its moments, but like it has a better story in my opinion in terms of just like connecting people. Because there's this girl who like she pushed the god out of the way of the bus, like, but no one normally can see a god unless he's being worshipped by them. So like she pushed him, and for some reason she saw him and she got hit by the bus, but she didn't die. But now she's stuck in a weird phase where she somewhat dies, and then she comes back to life randomly all the time, because that's how she interacts with like all these gods now. So like she's like the in between character. How do I assign that?
Like she's like in like.
I'm trying to give you a comparison of like another person who that'd be. She's like not a main. She's a main character, but she's like the one that connects like one side of the world and the other side of the world.
Side character.
No, because she's a main character. She like, do you have the physical world? I'm terrible at like describing things.
She's like the central character that ties the two.
Purgatory. She's a purgatory.
She's like stuck in this weird phase where, because she's like keeps asking this god like, hey, I paid you 5 yen. You need to figure out why I keep like turning into a ghost and then becoming back to life and turning like, why do I keep going between the two? But he doesn't want to tell her because if she probably disappears, then he might disappear because she's like one of the only people that consistently remembers him.
What's the show called?
Noragami. I have a terrible time not recommending it, talking about it because like it is a weird concept to explain. Is
it like a shonen, would you say, or is it more of like a limited series? Like
it has 2 seasons. They're talking about doing a third, but they've been like this new season's been out for a couple years. Okay. Anime takes a while to come out in anyways. Yeah. No, I was over at a friend's house and she recommended it and we've been watching it. It's been really, really good.
It sounds interesting.
I mean I have a hard time describing it. I recommend like at least looking into it. If you guys do like anime, especially in the sense of like action and really good. Like it has a good story. It has a really honestly. It had a moment because like, and I guess the best way to explain it is like one of the weapons that he turned into the regalias. That is considered a worshiper. Like he's supposed to worship that god, but sometimes since they have free will because they may not have been chosen by that god, they may fight back. Mm-hmm. And if they sin, it hurts the god. And there was a whole arc with what happened there, and I was like, oh, this is so good, because he chose like a 14-year-old boy to be his regalia. He had no choice. It was the only thing that was there, and it was just sitting there, and he just picked it. Well, this 14-year-old boy's got a lot of problems, like a lot of pent up, like, I'm a 14-year-old boy and I shouldn't be dead right now. Why am I dead? And he has him as a worshiper now, and so he's going through all these sins, and he's hurting the god, because the god's like not going to kill him.
The show sounds pretty wild.
It's a wild show. It's weird. I'm surprised I like it as much as I do, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm terrible at describing these things, so
I'll have to look into it. It sounds kind of like a very kind of almost like a spirit world kind of concept.
I would love if someone else watched it and they described it to do a better job than what I did.
No, it makes sense.
Noragami.
I'll make a bet with one of y'all.
Where are you watching this at?
Hulu. Hulu or Funimation.
Okay.
One of the two.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I've been watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood still. I'm through the third part of that, I guess. I think there's 5 or 6. That show's just really good.
It's a great show.
I really am loving it.
Highly recommend it.
I think that's one of my favorite. The original Full Metal Alchemist, I liked it, but the
Brotherhood's
the translation, like the way that they do the English like dub is, and I liked watching the English dub more than watching it in Japanese, because it's just a show I would more want to just sit back and watch. I don't want to have to read a bunch. But the original 2003 anime, the words were like the way they would write the sentences were very weird, like almost like they would start with the front half of the sentence and then say the back at times, and it was just like hard to follow.
Yeah.
But the dub of Brotherhood is phenomenal.
I feel like dub has gotten so much better as the years go on.
Yeah.
Because like early dub sucked. Like I'm watching Naruto, it comes across as like a cartoon at first, and then you get in the Shippuden, it's like, oh, this is so much better.
Yeah.
Then like, so I understand what you're saying.
But I'm at the point really now where Brotherhood is very different than that anime that kind of spun off, and it's following Brotherhood follows the manga, and I'm really, really, really liking that show.
I'm glad. That's a great show.
A lot of people say that is like
It's
the
definitive one.
like
It's
the definitive shonen, and it's not like 500 episodes. I think it's 50.
Yeah, One Piece. One Piece is like the extreme. Like if you want to go crazy, watch One Piece. They say like Naruto's a little much, and then like you get into like your like Full
Brotherhood.
Metal is really good. Full Metal's awesome.
Well, what I like also is the seasons are 12 episodes. So like season 1's an arc, season 2's an arc, and it's just 12
in
episodes.
Such a cool spot because like the animation quality has gotten so good. The issue is it's coming out a lot less. So like the problem with anime is they give you such a good world that you just want all of it, the filler and all. That's what's always going to happen. You know, growing up watching DBZ, Naruto, we watched like Yashashime, Inuyasha. You know, we watched all these animes and it's like, oh, I love this world. There's so many episodes to watch. Like this is so awesome. Now it's like we get Attack on Titan. That world is gnarly. Like, and you just want to eat it up.
Yeah.
You're only getting 10 to 12 episodes a season, because the animation quality is so nice and takes so much effort, but also it's just that good of a story. Like, and that's all you really need, but it just leaves you craving for more.
Well, and maybe Zach, you and Jake, you could speak to this more. I kind of always assume that there are shows that start more as animes and then they make manga for them, and there's shows that start more as manga, like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Those started as manga, so they had hundreds of episodes worth of content that they made into an anime, or Yu-Gi-Oh or Naruto. Whereas like Attack on Titan, they made the anime, right? And then they maybe did a manga based on the anime. So
I think so.
Like the story was, while we love the world, it'd be great to have more. Like the story is very, it started with the anime, which is more limited in scope in terms of the length.
I don't know if that's the case, because I know the manga for Attack on Titan's already, I've read it. I know Attack on Titan ends.
Oh, well, that's why I'm asking, because I don't know.
So
like Evangelion was an anime first.
Did you read the manga?
No. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I know how it ends. I know that there's a lot of controversy right now because apparently the dude who wrote it came back and retconned it and said, I'm going to change it. And
shoot, that's what's going to happen to Game of Thrones. Maybe.
Yeah, so like he already put his revision out, and I read the revision and I was like, and yeah, so now I was like, well, this is going to really frick up the anime. But now I'm waiting for the anime because I don't know if they're going to follow what version.
It's kind of the best of both worlds, though, because you have a resolution, but you also still don't know what's going to happen with the anime.
100%. And that's the thing. Here's the thing: like animes have taken liberty from the like manga before. They have. They've went off in their own direction because sometimes they can, and with the author discretion, like if they're allowed to.
Well, that's a FMA, the first Full Metal Alchemist. Now that I'm getting further into Brotherhood, they go in a direction that liberties. Is. Well, there was nothing finished. The manga was half done, that anime, the first anime, it goes like, are you ever gonna? If you were to ever watch these, you would probably just watch Brotherhood, which is the one of the manga, right?
Because how long is the first thing?
The first one's 50 episodes. Brotherhood's 56.
You think I should watch the first thing?
I think that
if you want a good perspective of what the difference is,
I think it's worth watching both. But my only fear would be, I thought that FMA, the first one, it's good the whole time, but I felt like it took a while to really hit like a stride where I was like, okay, I'm really excited to watch all these. I took my time. I would say FMA 1 was more of a leftovers type experience for me, honestly, where I was like,
then I'll love
there
it.
were parts of FMA Part 1 that I was as frustrated as I am with leftovers of like, what are they doing? I would tell just this show, like, I don't get what they're going for. I don't know who, but people, blah, blah, blah. And then Brotherhood, but here's what I'm going to say.
Season 3 is Brotherhood. Then.
But here's what I will say, and that could be, and I like season 2 of Leftovers way more than season 1, but we're done with Leftovers right now. But Brotherhood is such a better show than FMA 1, but now that I know how they handle things differently, like the homunculi, Jacob, I love the way FMA, the first one, explained what homunculi were. I find it so much more like, it's cool how they explain them in Brotherhood, but like in FMA, it's like really dark, and it's like, that is really interesting reveals. And there are some of the homunculi like Lust.
Yeah.
I think I like how much they use her character in the first one more than they did in Brotherhood, where
I think that's just, again, it's a testament, though, where you walk that fine line, because you're right. If something gets ahead of the anime, of the manga, and they're going to do their own thing, and it might be better, it might be worse, but it's going to stick with people, and then they're always going to compare the two. It's dangerous. It can ruin a franchise.
The reveal at the end of FMA, like the original, you know what I'm talking about, with the brothers and the...
Go ahead.
What they do and how that all goes down, and like reality questions about... it left me like, I didn't even like, I was so perplexed. I was like, this is so ballsy. Like, I think they found out that they weren't going to be able to base it on the manga, and they went
left hard.
They went so hard left that it's like, I respect it. Like, so it is worth watching both.
They finished, I think they're like, we did our own thing, and we're going to just do it the way we want to end it.
Yeah.
And and kudos to them. I'm glad they did, because it is, and it's right. Like, you should go, it's like an extended thing. Like, you should go watch that. I personally tell you to watch Brotherhood first, if you want, in my opinion, but that's completely up to you.
Yeah, I see a lot of people say different things on that. Zach, you'll have to look that up when you decide to watch it.
One anime I want to talk about, the final Evangelion movie came out.
Evangelion 3.0 plus
1.0, Thrice Upon a Time.
Super subscriber edition.
Thrice Upon a Time. So the final Evangelion movie came out. The way we watched it is on Friday. Some of us, it was just me and Devin, I think, watched it alone, and then we got the next day, got together, watched it as a bigger group. Jacob's not seen any.
I have not watched a single Evangelion. Not a single one.
So there might be some slight spoilers, but I don't think you will even remember what I'm talking
Jacob,
about.
I could tell you beat for beat what happens. You would process none of it, and it would have no effect on you watching the show.
And you're going to tell us, I just have zero interest.
I don't think it's your kind of show.
I've seen Gundam, and I'm like, Gundam's okay.
But I don't know. I didn't think Leftovers would be your thing, and you ate that up.
Well, because I love Lost.
But this has like elements of Lost kind of stuff. I don't know.
No, I would say
don't compare Evangelion to Lost.
No, I actually think that's a legitimate comparison.
They all share this kind of weird.
I've seen your figures
and lore and stuff.
No, I mean
the game. You might look at it as like a giant robot show, and it totally twists all that concept on its head of what it actually is. It's
the
more
robots
about existential dread, and it's more about like getting out of depression, and it's more about just really playing with their expectations. I guess.
It's all about the characters. It would be like saying, I don't watch Attack on Titan, but I feel like it would be like, Attack on Titan, giants. I get it. Like.
That would be what it's. What
I get it. I understand. I don't know. I feel like I missed the boat, but I'm probably wrong. I might watch it 20 years from now, and y'all be like, "Dang it, Jacob, why didn't you watch it sooner?"
If you, which you're not, you said you're not, but if you ever were interested, it's very easy.
Wasn't there a Nintendo 64 game of it?
Yeah, I streamed it all the time.
Wasn't it? But
just don't play the N64 game.
For as complicated as it seems like it is to get into, it's 26 episodes. And then a movie.
And it's a movie.
Does it have a dub?
Yeah.
A dub and
I thought the dub sucked.
No, and you can watch it on Netflix. It's on Netflix. They redubbed it last year.
That's awesome.
You should just watch it on Netflix.
I'll find a new
I'll
bet.
watch it
We'll
when you
get a new
finish
bet.
Leftovers.
We'll get a new bet.
All right, well, I'll take the bet. I'm watching
That's a
Leftovers.
bet on a bet. That's like a freaking...
No, I shouldn't have to double give. That's my point.
I didn't ask you to. You offered it.
I beat Last of Us 2, and I created a new genre point for it, dude.
I liked this movie a lot. It had a lot to live up to because, I mean, we've been waiting. There's a famous... I did a prophecy. I was like... I declared a prophecy, if you could say. When the third one came out, I said, one of us is going to have a kid by the time this last movie came out. And Devin fulfilled that prophecy with his kid. He knew that he had to get the job done for us to see this final Evangelion.
Good job, Devin.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you for...
Way to bite one for the team.
Yeah.
I watched it that Saturday night with you guys, and then I waited a week and I watched it again with a friend. To me, like, I didn't know what to even want out of this because one, the first rebuild movie was like a kind of a beat for beat redo of the first 8 episodes.
And the second one kind of diverts a little bit.
Second one starts out that way, but then they add some new characters and it turns hard at the end. 3 is like
wacko jacko.
Crazy. So I just was like, I don't know. And my hope would have been, I just hope it leaves me fulfilled. This left me super fulfilled.
Yes. I even said when we watched it together, as my second time viewing it, I said that this movie did what I wish Star Wars would have done with their newest trilogy. It left me completely satisfied. It at the very, like, the last fourth of it, what it does, I went, oh yeah, that's what it should have done. Like, that's how it has to end. Like, I never felt like, oh, I wish they would have. Whereas that's all the new Star Wars movies is, God, why didn't they do X, Y, and Z? Whereas this, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, oh God, they should have explored that more. I don't have, maybe after the 8 viewings, I'll have to see something. But right now, it's like I'm really fulfilled. I really came out of that in the second viewing even more like, oh yeah, like, you get to see some stuff.
I really liked it after the first viewing. After the second viewing, I really loved it.
Yeah.
I think it probably is my favorite of the rebuild movies.
It could be. I'm gonna let the smoke clear. I have to let time pass before I say what's my favorite, because 3 has been my favorite for a while, but this one just really sticks the landing. It also, I was thinking more about this after seeing it a second time. Now that some smoke is cleared, like a time has passed, I think the first 2 movies of the rebuild series are almost their own episode, and 3 and 4 is their own thing. Because the first 2, there's angels, and they're fighting the angels and whatever. What's in 3 and 4? They're fighting They're like fighting
the angels
against themselves and stuff. Like,
it's like no more angels.
Yes, there's no more angels at all. And I was thinking about that. I was like, 3 and 4 are their own thing. Like, I think it's episode 25 and 26 kind of deal with those. Like, they're totally different episodes.
I think there's a lot of validity to that. I think that one of the things I loved about the movie, speaking specifically about the new one, is the movies felt very rushed to me.
Yeah.
I liked the movies, but I always felt like you didn't get the character time that I missed.
Condensing it into the movie.
And I got that because it's a movie. What I loved about this movie is the first hour and 20 minutes.
Detailed, yeah.
There's an opening action sequence, and after that, it is character time.
Yeah.
Like, solid. Like, literally no robots. No, nothing. We're in a town and we're getting caught up. Not just with Shinji, but with Rei and with Asuka, but like other characters that I like. Some of the people they bring in, I'm just like, oh, we're never seeing them again. Like, we're never gonna know what happened to the kid with glasses. And then he's here and he's got like a character meaning, and he has a relevance to the main characters. He has a relevance to the world. Nobody felt like they were tagged along for no reason, and that's why it was satisfying. It's like, as opposed to like Rise of Skywalker, like they brought back Lando, but like Lando showed up at a parade and like gave him a ship and then he was gone. Like, and it was like, like it's just, we could sit all day and compare Star Wars to Evangelion, but they share, I think, and I said this when we watched it the second time, Star Wars and Evangelion both share the same problem. I think one of the only 2 properties in the world that share the same problem. Evangelion is this hyper god of culture in Japan, and Star Wars is this worldwide phenomenon here. And I will say Evangelion is kind of worldwide as well. But, like, they both share the problem of they've become, like, kind of victims of their own success of, like,
well, if I do this fan base is going to tear it apart, but then these people are going to love it because they're taking a chance. It's kind of like goes back. Oh, we're circling the same as Evangelion. We're circling back. What were we talking about? Freaking Zelda and whatever. It's like, do you change this? What do you change this, or how do you? Are the fans going to be receptive to it? But they both share that problem, and whereas I think Star Wars stumbled bad over what that was, and they had shining moments at parts. Like I liked The Last Jedi, and where they're like, passing on there's a meta commentary. You have to almost commentate on your own success, and I think Evangelion kind of did that.
It really did that.
It really dug deep, and it said, well, we have to talk about this, and they didn't shy away from doing the meta of like, let's kill Evangelion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's over. Like, they wanted to make that clear, and they have to meta talk about that. And that's really...
It would be the equivalent if at the end of Star Wars...
It's hard to do.
It would be the equivalent if at the end of Star Wars, like, they got everyone together and was like, we have to stop all the wars.
Yeah.
We can't have any more wars. Yeah. No more rebels. No more empire. Yeah. Let's do something different.
And because of anime, I think it gives them more liberty to do little anime-ish things to where there's hilarious imagery in this of literally stabbing. Like, there's hilarious imagery that they get to do because it's an anime where they stab each of the Evangelions as they come by. And I love that. It's like, we're fucking done. We're done. We're done. We're done. You know what I mean? Like, if you did not think we're done, we're done.
Well, and it got to the point, like at the end, and like this, again, this wasn't spoiling anything for you because you won't even understand. Like, it gets you're like on set, like with cameras and like the backdrops are falling apart. Like they're having a fight sequence and like it's like there's a thing on the wall and it starts falling down. Like they're like, this has to end. Like and there's an in-universe reason for why it looks that way.
And I found out afterwards. There's a part when they're fighting the Evangelions and they go through the soundstage. They're in a soundstage. You get to see that, but it goes that meta. That soundstage that they modeled is the soundstage they actually made the movie on, like in real life. Like that's how they modeled the characters with the CG or whatever.
But then there's like real reasons why it would be that way, which I liked because they are in this antiverse where things get made up out of their memories and like.
You sound like you're watching the multiverse of Evangelion.
But I'm so
rocks.
I was so satisfied with it. I could talk all day about it, but. The way it ended, I don't want to, I mean, we spoiled some parts of it, but the way, just to say how, if you've seen it, and you should watch it if you're a fan, the way that lasts forth in the character's head, when we get into Gendo's head of all, like, that stuff, it's like, no duh. Like, that's how it should have been. And it's finally, the biggest thing has been communication. These characters aren't talking. And Gendo, and what does he do in episodes in the original show? He's not communicating with the kid, and the kid's just wanting his dad. And like
this whole show, the son and the dad are not communicating, and they finally hit that head on.
And what's so awesome in the movie is they even go into like in our forces, and they go into like that psycho anime thing of like you're attack one or whatever, and they do that for a second, but then what does Shinji do? He puts down the sword, and it's like, no, we can't fight this out. We have to talk it out. That's the final battle, is talking. And that is just like, I just freaking loved that. So satisfied in that. And I watched there's 2 episodes of like a documentary of making the finale. And I finished 1 of 2.
I saw the first half of that first one.
And that is very cool because you get to see like, it kind of reminded me of like me at times of like, because what will happen to me is, he kind of will like delegate certain things to other people. You might have saw that. And then he ends up redoing it. And I kind of have that struggle too of like delegating stuff because it's like I want to have my fingertips on everything.
I got the lights,
Zach,
boss.
The scene. Okay, so they go into great detail in this documentary about they set up this town with this train yard. And I didn't know this when you watch it in the movie. They actually built it out of models.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like when you watch this stuff, it looks very like, oh, that looks like a real town.
It's hyper detailed.
Don't take that for granted. It looks like a real town because the guy making the show is obsessed with power lines and how would they actually be laid out in this town and where would the garbage cans be relative to where these guys are working. And so he comes in and they've got this big model the size of my basement laid out and he's looking at it and he's delegated for these guys to set this up. It looks good. And everybody gets real quiet and he just stands for silent. And then he just walks over and he starts moving things. This isn't right. This would be over here. And these people, okay.
You wouldn't have these tower
and then,
lines
yeah.
next to
And then he
each
says,
other.
thank you guys. And then they stand there and they all have a good laugh. And then he goes back.
Yeah,
and
he
it
goes
happens 7 times.
Yeah.
He goes back after saying, thank you, I'm done. I promise I'm done. And then he looks, no, these cars would never be parked this way. And but that's the level of detail that goes into the set. So
and it came through because the first time watching through, the first fourth of the movie, when you get very quiet moments with these characters, and you're like, what are we doing here? I felt my first impression was this is very emotionally detailed and very detailed. Like the characters are getting a lot of time, and I'm like, this world's hyper. Like you're gonna see Ray like plant little things and vegetables or whatever. I don't know what those were, but like it's so detailed. And I was like, well, God, this part's very hyper detailed. Like all this stuff's very cool, but very good. I freaking loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So
yeah, I feel the same way.
Freaking satisfied. So
Jacob, unlike Game of Thrones, which people kept telling me to watch, and then it got to the end, people said it sucks, so I'm glad I didn't watch it. This ends really well, so worth watching.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
But I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I watched one other thing about UFOs. They're real, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. No, real quick on that. It's HBO. It's J.J. Abrams' studio did this. It's a UFO 4-episode documentary about UFOs. And that was really good because what do you see in all these UFO documentaries? Every single one is they keep pushing everything that they're real. But this one, the first two episodes are they are real. Like here's all these accounts. The next two are here's what this might be, and here is some answers maybe to some other stuff that they saw. But I'll just give one funny tidbit and I'll move on. They talked about this one guy that was on this naval base or whatever else that saw something and said, what is this thing, blah, blah, blah. And they told him, the one guy that's like part of his job in the army is to like basically manipulate and do it like he was part of these whatever. And he was friends with this guy and he said, I think that might possibly be an alien. And they lied to this guy because it was army, it was new like military stuff that they were testing, like drone stuff or whatever. But he was like, but he couldn't, like we didn't want that out at the time. So we had to lie to this guy or he would have like leaked this information. But they go into that stuff. But so I appreciated that aspect. But there's other parts where we're like, that's fricked up. Like we don't have an answer to that at all. Like what's going on there.
I want to watch that because I eat that kind of stuff
Yeah,
up.
so the first two are like very pro and then the next two is like, what's going on here?
Where do you watch this at?
HBO.
Okay.
Look at that. So
You mentioned it. So I have to say it. I've been watching Hard Knocks. Just a heads up.
what's Hard Knocks?
It's
I've heard mixed things about this season, but it's the Cowboys. So
they brought in a cowboy set. They have some people there.
Explain what Hard Knocks is.
I don't know what this is.
I know. It's just
It's a football documentary.
It's a football because you mentioned HBO. It's on HBO.
Okay.
I got HBO Max just for this. The only reason I have it now is because the Dallas Cowboys are on Hard Knocks.
Every year they pick a team and they go through training camp with them and they document.
That's neat.
You'd probably like it. It's someone that doesn't like sports. You might like it.
I love all documentaries.
Back in
was
it 2017 or 2016 was Dak Prescott the first time he was quarterback? I'm trying to remember. Dak Prescott's rookie year and Zeke's rookie year. Amazon did their version of Hard Knocks, but they went through the entire season. I watched it and I ate it up. Because I got to see everything that like Zeke was going through. I love that
stuff, especially if you're into something.
Well, yeah, because like it's like, hey, Dak Prescott's killing it, and it's his mindset like, dude, I didn't even think I was going to play this year.
It's weird that as you're a Cowboys fan, I'm a Bengals fan. Very different franchises, very different popularity levels. Mm-hmm. Bengals have been on it twice, and Cowboys have been on it 4 times.
On Hard Knocks?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times.
Have they?
Cowboys have been on Hard Knocks a couple times at least.
Well, I don't remember. I don't watch it. That's how little
I loved it when the Bengals were on because it's like you get unbelievable access to what's going on. So
I'm watching them, and you get they did a drone around the facility, a drone shot, and it was beautiful. I want to go to Dallas so bad and watch a game. Like that's on my bucket list, and I'm getting really close to just pulling the trigger and just doing it. If it wasn't for pandemic stuff.
Yeah, Texas really can't figure that one out.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I won't dive into that topic enough. It's awesome just because, again, I'm a huge Cowboys fan. I'm a huge football fan. So seeing players they bring in from like the international league, they only have 14 players, and now I have one of them on our team. He's an offensive lineman. He plays guard. Big boy. I mean, the dude can block. The problem is he just doesn't understand the game of football too well. And so I as a guy who play offensive line, and like I'm not an NFL caliber person, but I understand what they're talking about. The guy get up there and he's like, "You have to get off the ball and drive," and I'm like, "Man, I tell middle schoolers that." But here's the thing: like someone who hasn't played football their entire life, they just think like they just have to stand there. No, if your job is to get to the next level, you better get your butt to the next level. That's how you get a play. So watching that stuff, trying to see if he can make a roster spot. Trying to watch people like Dak, who just came off ankle surgery. Like, what's his mind? Now he has a shoulder injury.
He got hurt like the first day of training camp.
Yeah, so watching that, Zeke, who is under a lot of scrutiny right now, he needs to bounce back. A lot riding on the Dallas Cowboys team, and be able to see a documentary about them going into the season, even though they haven't won a preseason game, is really interesting, to say the least. I enjoyed it a lot. I will say this, and I'm going to say this, and you can record it a year from now. I don't like Mike McCarthy. I wasn't in love with the hiring coach. Watching him now, I do not love him still.
I wanted to watch this because I was curious how he comes across. That's the best part about Hard Knocks every year.
Yeah.
Is they like film these head coaches in their office. They film when they cut players. They film when they run their meetings. So when people are bad leaders, it's just all out there for everyone to see. And when Hugh Jackson for the Browns was the coach, it was a clown show. Like it was insanity. And it was almost so cringy. Like, this guy is bad at his job and everybody can see it. Yeah. It's just crazy.
And I think for me, it's just the things that like, this is so cliche. And it completely goes against what he came out and said when he first got hired. He's like, he took years off just to try to relearn the game. And he gets out there and he's like, we're going to do a special thing where if we ring the bell, we're all going, it's 2-minute time. And it's like, that's stupid. Like, no, duh. Like, yeah, a football team's got to learn how to move the ball 2 minutes. No, it's 2-minute time. Get them hyped. Yeah. 2-minute time. And it's like, dude, like if I was a grown man, even though I'm getting paid millions and you're screaming at me, it's 2 minutes. I don't get hyped like a teenager anymore.
A lot of coaches, I don't know why they struggle understanding that the players are adults that make more than they do. Mm-hmm. So you can't like yell at them like they're kids, which I would think McCarthy would know that he's been in the league. But
he was in a staff meeting. He's like, this is what it's going to really help us understand the importance of this concept. And it's like, man, if your football team doesn't understand the importance of 2-minute football, you failed as a coach.
Yeah.
They failed at football. Like they should be in the league.
My favorite thing about Mike McCarthy is, so when he got fired from the Packers, he obviously took a year or two off, right? Yeah. So
he's the Papa John's guy.
Well, he very famously in his interview with Jerry Jones, who owns the Cowboys, told Jerry, hey, in my year off, I watched and wrote, I took notes and watched every single play of the NFL season, all 32 teams, every play that they had. Okay. And Jerry Jones has said, I hired him because he put in the work while he wasn't hired. Somebody asked him that last year, and he said, yeah, I didn't do that. He literally said, he's like, I didn't do that.
Here's the thing.
That's funny. I hope like Jerry Jones is like, you're hired, kid.
If we make the NFC Championship, keep him. If we don't, fire him. Move
Jacob, on. I say this as a Bengals fan who's been through similar hell on earth. Did you know the only 3 teams in the NFC that have not been to the championship game in the last 25 years are the Lions? Who is the other one? It's the Lions and the Cowboys and one other team.
I'm trying to think who Minnesota?
No. I don't think
Minnesota's been there.
I don't remember who it was, but it was Washington. It was Washington, the Lions, and the Cowboys, and I was like, man, the Bengals and the Cowboys have been through it.
I'm not going to talk much more about this. I'm going to move on. There was one more thing I want to say. Jerry Jones, this 80-year-old fossil of a man who runs a football team, he was on the phone with the trainer. They brought a trainer in from the New York Yankees to look at Dak's shoulder because they look at shoulders a lot for pitchers, and they know it a lot better than the NFL. He's on the phone with the Yankees trainer and the Cowboys head coach trainer, and this man wipes his butt with $1,000 bills. They make $1,000 bills. That's how rich he is. You see him sit back in the chair, and he slides over a sausage McGriddle from McDonald's on the phone with this person. He unwraps it, and they're filming this the entire. And he opens it like he's about to. And he grabs a thing of salt and just starts pouring salt on it and takes a giant bite.
On the McGriddle.
Yeah, dude. I was like, this dude runs our franchise, man. Oh my gosh. Like
the McGriddle needed salt. That is wild.
I promise you, I watched, I was like, why? So that's the kind of documentary it is about football. It's really just funny stuff. But yeah, that's I wanted to throw that tidbit out there. So sorry to take up more time.
The Hankathon continued. We just watched Catch Me If You Can. I've seen it before. My wife never did. She liked it. I liked it again. Leonardo and Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks has a New York accent. I liked it.
I haven't seen it.
The Hankathon continues, and it will never stop.
Did you watch the Money Pit yet?
I'm not. I'm not yet.
No, I'm not.
I'm not. I'm going to. But thank you guys for watching. Hey, check us out, DweeBros on Twitter. I've been saying DweeBYT for so long, but it feels so good on my lips to be saying DweeBros and not DweeBYT.
And Discord soon.
Discord will be dropping soon. Look forward to that. Be watching out for those links. Join. Talk about crap.
DweeBros on TikTok. We're on TikTok. I'm going to try to put some podcast little clips on there, maybe some hangout clips on there, some good little clips.
There's a clip of me and Kenny pulling a Pokemon card where we literally broke my mic.
Yeah, we need to do some clippage. So some clippage is going to see on there. You might see me acting silly on
I've enjoyed
TikTok.
them. You know why? Because I know who you are, and it makes it way funnier to me.
Yeah,
and it just
I'm having fun getting back to solo videos because I used to do that all the time when I just didn't have time with the schedule, with friends. So now I'm just sitting in a room. Kind of
have your wife ever walked in while you're filming the TikTok yet?
I'm usually doing it alone. It's just me and the dogs. So having fun. And then you've got a new show coming out.
Yeah, more details will come, but it'll start in October. I'm going to start working on the first episode in September. But if you like music and you like the music we've done for dweebs and different stuff like that, video game type music, I'll be giving details. It'll be a fun show where we kind of hang out and play some games and also make some music in the vein of those games. So I'm excited.
Super Mario Music Maker.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what we're doing. But until then, thank you guys for watching. And if you go to the Yardsales, pick me up some magazines.
Ew.